Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting. 97.5 The Fanatic. Rise and shine, Philadelphia. It's time for Mornings with Andrew. Coming to you live from the Fanatic Studios, here's your host, Andrew Salciunas, on 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Yes, good morning to you. God bless you, Derek Hill. Phillies win last night, 6-3. Bottom of the seventh inning. Derek Hill steps up to the plate, down 3-0, bases juiced. It's what every kid dreams of. Usually it's Game 7 of the World Series, ninth inning, 2 outs in the ball game, and you hit the walk-off grand slam. But hey, we'll take an August 3rd, bottom of the seventh inning, go-ahead grand slam by Derek Hill. We'll talk more about that as the show goes on. But, of course, we also have to start off with reaction to the MLB trade deadline. Yesterday was the day where every team was trying to solidify their chances to eventually lose to the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's my takeaway from yesterday. All right, how bad do we want to lose? How much of a fight do we want to put up? Do we want to go down in 4, or do we want to go down in 5? Maybe 6. Hey, Blue Jays made it to 7 last year. We've got a good club. So yesterday was the trade deadline, and the Dodgers are still the best team in baseball, and you just got to hope that things go your way. You got to hope that if you don't face them in the NLDS, that the team that does face them in the NLDS knocks them off, and then you don't have to face them in the NLCS, which we've seen in years past with the Philadelphia Phillies, or you hope you catch them at the right time, which could be the NLDS, which is a best of 5, and you hope that your starting pitching of Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler and Jesus Luzardo can go toe-to-toe with Yamamoto and Tarek Skubal, and we'll see if Ohtani comes back. They have a bunch of starting pitchers, and, of course, that is what it's all about. The trade deadline reaction is all about whether or not you think they can beat the Dodgers and whether or not you think they can win the World Series. Because after years of disappointment in the playoffs, it's no more just, hey, I just want to get to the playoffs and see what happens. It's always been about the World Series with this baseball team. And so we can talk about it all day today at 610-632-0975, whether or not they did just that. Did they get enough at the deadline in order to try to compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers? Well, before we do all that, let's break down what happened yesterday. All right, I'm not even going to go takes on you yet. I'm just going to break down what the Philadelphia Phillies did yesterday. So it starts with the big trade, and it happened on the show yesterday morning, 9:40 a.m. The Philadelphia Phillies acquired Luis Arraez from the San Francisco Giants. And already, I love it, already, I've never seen this guy play baseball in my life before, but I'm going to be upset about it. The tears shed over Ramon Marquez, the right-handed pitcher that's in the Phillies farm system that's never good. Period. Like, do I have to say more? The Phillies farm system, that's never good. They have not been good since Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, and Ryan Howard came up. That was 20 years ago. And if you look before then, it wasn't really much better either. So the Phillies got rid of a prospect, and people that have never seen him play baseball in their lives will shed tears over it. Okay, yeah, look, I read up on the guy. Guy's got some high velocity. Guy's got some explosive stuff. And the guy's shoulder could tear in like the next 3 years before he even gets to the major leagues. He's a young prospect. He's not a guy that's ready to pitch right now in Major League Baseball. You got rid of a guy that won't help this team. Okay? And as we have been saying for months, keep the same energy. Oh, my God, it bothers me that we can't keep the same energy. We have been talking about for months that this team was going to stink in 2030 regardless of what they did. Whether or not they went out there and made a trade for Luis Arraez, whether or not they went out there and tried to get the big Tarek Skubal trades, this farm system's not good. So whether they held on to prospects or moved on from prospects, this team was not going to be good in 2030 because they're going to be very old, or those prospects were never going to really be game changers. We're already seeing it right now with a couple of guys at the major league level with the Philadelphia Phillies. So they go for Luis Arraez. And I love the move because I'm an old school baseball guy, right? Connor asked me as soon as we got into the elevator this morning, is Luis Arraez like your kind of player? I said, who's my favorite player all time? Ichiro Suzuki. Yes, this is my kind of player. A guy that just knows how to go up to the plate and have an approach. A guy that strikes out less than he walks. A guy that goes up there and just sprays the baseball all over the place. A guy that it doesn't matter who's on the mound, lefty or righty. The guy hits over 300 against both arms. All right, so it's not like you acquired a guy that's a platoon player, which is something that Dave Dombrowski has done over the years at the trade deadline. You got a guy that you can pencil into your starting lineup every single day. It doesn't matter who's on the mound, and you can pencil him up toward the top. We'll have the debate. Should he bat leadoff? Should he bat second? There have been times, I believe at the San Diego Padres, where he batted fourth because he was a guy that could continue the lineup going. Don Mattingly and, of course, Dave Dombrowski will have a lot to figure out with what they do with the top four in this order. But all I know is the top four in this order will include names Trey Turner, Luis Arraez, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. Whatever the order is, those will be your top four in the everyday lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. And that excites me. It excites me that I know that toward the top of the lineup, I have a guy that should be getting on base more than 30% of the time for guys like Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper who are supposed to drive into baseball. Now, here's the problem. We still have the same problem. There's still no protection. So this breakdown is of the trades they did and did not do. They did not acquire the right-handed bat that we've been talking about for 3 years. They didn't. They acquired a bat. They acquired a guy that made your lineup deeper, right? Everybody moves down a spot. Alec Boehm is no longer batting fourth for this lineup. He should now be batting fifth for this lineup. But the problem is if Bryce Harper is batting fourth, that means he still has Alec Boehm behind him. If Kyle Schwarber is batting fourth, that means he has Alec Boehm behind him. So what does that mean? Alec Boehm will continue to allow pitchers to not pitch to Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper will still not get good pitches to hit. It's still the same problem. That's why we've been talking about guys like Joe Adell for years. That's why we've been talking about guys like Taylor Ward for years. Both players, by the way, on the move yesterday. There were some confusing teams yesterday, like the Seattle Mariners. That's where Taylor Ward went. Earlier in the morning, Seattle was about to do a fire sale. They traded Luis Castillo, one of their good arms. George Kirby was on the block. Randy Arozarena was on the block. And then they said, you know what? Second thought, we're only 2 games out of a playoff spot. Why are we doing this? Let's add. So they add Taylor Ward, who's a free agent at the end of the year. So that move made absolutely no sense for Seattle to make. It made more sense for a team that was legitimate contenders to make. He goes to Seattle. That's a guy off the list. Is that Dave Dombrowski's fault? I don't know, unless you wanted to part ways with more prospects. You know me, I don't care about it. But getting a rise is one thing because it lengthens your lineup, and it's a player that I really like. But some of the issues that have been plaguing this team are still there. Those issues remain the same. So not acquiring a right-handed bat is still something that needs to be addressed. Unless we think that Derek Hill is going to continue to be Superman like he was again last night. And then as far as the arms that the Phillies acquired, I like them. You know, going back weeks, months on this show, Kincaid and Salciunas before John Kincaid parted ways, I wanted the big splash to be a reliever, right? Now, again, going back weeks, months, the Boston Red Sox were dead. Boston Red Sox fired Alex Cora. The Boston Red Sox were one of those teams that we all thought would be sellers at the trade deadline. They then win 15 games in a row. They're the hottest team in baseball. So Aroldis Chapman gets off the trade block. I can't trade for the lefty fire thrower that I wanted. And then you look from other teams around Major League Baseball, Mason Miller. He was a guy that at one point was legitimately able to acquire. And then the Padres got hot. And the Padres are, once again, in playoff contention. And that's sort of the problem. It's not a problem. I like that more teams are making the playoffs. But that is the problem with the trade deadline being so early in the month of August. There are teams that still believe that they are in the running. And the Padres have every right to believe that they're in the running. But that was another arm that came off the list. So they had to go with the next tier of relievers. They weren't going to get the top guys that were at one point on the market. So they get Brooks Raley from the New York Mets, who over the last couple of years has been lethal against left-handed pitching, left-handed batting. The Phillies needed that. They did not have a left-handed reliever that was reliable. Jose Alvarado has not been reliable this season. He's had some stretches where he's looked really good, and then he's had some awful stretches. He is not a guy that right now, in the 7th inning of a baseball game in the playoffs, I'm going to say, all right, good. Here comes Jose. Like, I feel great about that one. Tim Meza, like another guy. Like, I'm not about to say, oh, high leverage situation, high leverage Meza. Like, I'm not ready to be there. So you get a guy in here that fits an absolute need in the Phillies bullpen in Brooks Raley. And then Caleb Killian, I loved Ray Dunn's breakdown of him yesterday on Middays with Marks. Caleb Killian is Hector Neris. Pitch him in the 7th or 8th inning, great. Put him in the 9th inning, he pees himself. There are guys that can't handle the 9th. Good thing for the Phillies, they have a guy that you pencil in for the 9th inning every single time in Johan Duran. So you added relievers that weren't the big names, but you added relievers that have absolutely been effective recently and should be effective for this Phillies team. It also gives Orion Kerkering a different role because I still don't trust him in an 8th inning. Right, you saw him blow up again in Baltimore the other night. The one game that they lost in that series in Baltimore was his blow up. I still don't trust it. Jonathan Bolin, that's my guy. I love Big John. But I've never seen Jonathan Bolin pitch in the 8th inning of a playoff game. He's been pitching for the Kansas City Royals the last couple of years. A little bit of a different situation. What is it like here in Philadelphia? So the bullpen got better. The lineup got better. Which is why it is okay to say I'm confused. It's okay to say it. It's okay to say that you are confused by what Dave Dombrowski and the Philadelphia Phillies did. If you wake up this morning and you say that this team did not get better, you're just being a contrarian. You're just saying that to be angry. You're just saying that to give a take. You're just saying that you love Ramon Marquez because you feel the need to be like the prospect person in Philadelphia. Like, nobody knows anything about Ramon Marquez. So when you wake up this morning and you see the lineup that hopefully will be posted today. Arise didn't arrive till last night. You saw Johnny Sunshine, Johnny Airports run up to Luis Arise, get his interview. When you see the lineup today, it's going to look deeper, right? Automatically, Alec Boehm not batting 4th makes me happy. But then again, Alec Boehm batting 5th still means Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber don't get the protection. When you look at the bullpen got better. So they are better. But what was also like the number 1 or number 2 needs that this team needed? Right-handed pop, they did not get. And starting pitching depth. My God, I've been reading articles for months about how they were going to acquire a back end of the rotation starter. A guy that could do a little bit of both. A guy that could start, but also a guy that could piggyback, or a guy that can come out of the bullpen, because that's what Dave Dombrowski values at the trade deadline. I've been hearing about this for weeks, for months, and they didn't get it. And so last night, when Dave Dombrowski speaks to the media, he's got to dance, right? All right, what do I say here? Because for weeks, I've been letting all of my minions in the media speak for me, right? We're going to speak with Bob Nightingale today at 9:30. Bob Nightingale, 100%, is Dave Dombrowski's like burner. If we did not know that Bob Nightingale was a real person, Bob Nightingale was Dave Dombrowski's burner. I think he does a lot of speaking for Dave Dombrowski, which is why today at 9:30, when we talk to Bob Nightingale, I believe we will know exactly what Dave Dombrowski's thinking when we speak with Bob. Good job by Connor Thomas getting Bob Nightingale lined up for today. But I'm confused because Dave Dombrowski let all these people know that they needed pitching. We missed something yesterday, Connor. We should have known this was coming.
Why did we miss it?
We should have known that this was coming. We should have known that Dave Dombrowski was going to do we're getting this guy back. It's as if we made another addition. We missed something. The problem is we usually do that with injuries. Usually when a player comes back from injury, they do it's as if we acquired another guy at the deadline. This guy wasn't injured. This guy was sent down because he sucked. And maybe he turns things around. His last couple outings in AAA weren't bad. And he settled in against Baltimore. Started off bad, 2 runs immediately, and then pitched 6 innings of 2-run ball. I'll take that every single time. And that is Andrew Painter. So this was Dave Dombrowski yesterday because he was, of course, asked by probably some of the reporters that he was telling we're going to get starting pitching depth to. This was Dave Dombrowski on getting Andrew Painter back.
I think it was important, and not only his last start, but his 2 starts before that. And part of that ends up being my conversation with our staff members, too, and their comfort zone and how they feel if he's making the progress that they would like him to make to continue forward doing. And they feel that he's got a lot better feel himself on when he's drifting out of his rotation, some of the adjustments he's made with his pitching. So it made quite a bit of difference. Now, compared to some other clubs, and I've said this all along, you always want to get better at every position. But we feel that if we can make it to the postseason, our starting rotation's in really solid shape. Other people are looking to add to their top 3. In our situation here, that really wasn't a necessity. So if we were going to do it and add somebody, they would have had to have been significantly better, in our opinion, than Andrew, than just acquiring just another arm.
Did you try to acquire another starting pitcher?
Well, we talked to a lot of clubs about starting pitchers, yes, just to see who was out there on a consistent basis and what the cost would be. So, yeah, we did.
Do you come out of the deadline concerned about your starting pitching depth?
Well, a little, but that's really the choice came into you end up getting a guy that's a 5th starter that you don't think is as good as your guy that you have now, an option, the guy that you think has a better chance to win to help your depth, or do what we're doing. And we figured we'd do what we were doing.
So you're doing what you're doing. And look, he admitted he's a little concerned coming out of the deadline about the depth. The depth is now hinging on Andrew Painter being the guy that we've been sold on, or the guy that we saw the majority of the season where he was horrible and he had to get sent down. So we are relying on Andrew Painter for having an immediate turnaround in his early career. The other player is obviously Aaron Nola. And last night, such a Nola start. An absolute picturesque Aaron Nola start. Starts the game, immediately 3 earned runs in the first 2 innings. You're like, oh, my God. Remember all the starting pitching depth you've been talking about, Dave? And this is the guy that you're throwing out there. This guy, Aaron Nola. It's already 3-0. And then he settles in. It's the same thing. He gave up an early run against Miami, settled in. Gave up an early couple of runs against the Mets, settles in. Like, he just does that. He gives up runs early. I think these bats are just attacking him because he doesn't have much. And then he figures out the strike zone or whatever. I don't know. And then he settles in. He's actually been pretty consistent in the worst way possible because there's nothing like being down 3-0 early in a ball game and thinking we have no chance of winning this one. But they did win last night. And I do want to play it because the guy deserves his credit. Down 3-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning. All the talk about right-handed bat. All the talk about what the Phillies did not do at the trade deadline yesterday. Remember, the Phillies acquired this man via trade a while back because they needed to. Adolis Garcia gets hurt. They had no idea what to do with the outfield. They didn't believe in my man Brian De La Cruz just yet, who continues to do good things for the Phillies, getting plunked twice yesterday. You Nationals, you better watch out. Derek Hill steps up to the plate last night. Bases loaded, down 3-0. Boom.
Fly ball, left center field. That's well hit. Lyles going back toward the wall. Gone! Grand slam! Derek Hill has just given the Phils the lead. He is flying high around third.
That man, I put this out on social media yesterday, has automatically joined the club of all-time role player cult heroes in this city. He's done so many good things this year. He's hit big home runs. He has made some ridiculous plays. We know the home run that he robbed earlier this year, like that might go down as one of the best plays in baseball this season. It was unbelievable. And so that was a nice pickup by Dave Dombrowski months ago. Now, again, my takeaway is I'm confused. And I'm pretty sure we could try to get to the bottom of it throughout the course of the show. I don't think you should be overly negative today. But I also don't think that you should be like, here come the Phillies winning the World Series today. I got a tweet right away from Walter McRae. Good grief, Andrew. What fixes everything wrong with their team at the trade deadline? Relax, bro. Just enjoy baseball. I'm not saying yesterday was a bad day. I'm also not telling you that they're going to win the World Series, which that is what this is all about. And what they have needed for 3 years is somebody with pop from the right side, and they did not acquire that. We have reached a point where we all know what they need, and they don't get it. But they are better this morning. They're absolutely better this morning. You know what yesterday was? It's sitting down for a meal at a fine dining restaurant, and they bring you out a couple courses, and everything tastes really good. And then you realize you get done at the end of the meal, and you're like, yeah, those portions were pretty small. I'm not really full right now. I enjoyed what I had, but I don't really feel like I'm satiated.
And the bill was expensive, and so you're saying, did I really get what I am putting in here financially to this dining experience? Was this meal for me and my wife really worth over $200 when I'm still hungry?
Yeah, what you got was good. You didn't get enough of the good stuff.
Yeah, and that's why it's okay to feel confused today. So, Walter, I'm sorry if you think that I'm being negative ninny over here. I was thrilled when they got a rise. I actually really like the pickups of Killian and of Raleigh. Like, I actually really like those pickups. I think those are really necessary moves for the Phillies bullpen. But those all happened early. And I kept on going. All right, it's 12 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. All right, it's 2 o'clock. Then I did the typical Philadelphia thing. All right, maybe if I don't watch for a little bit, they'll turn things around. I started playing with Coop. I was not watching LB Network. I put my phone away, all that stuff. A couple hours go by. I go, all right, maybe the Phillies made a move. Nope.
You didn't miss anything.
And it's 5 o'clock, and then it's 6 o'clock. And then you get the typical tweet from every national reporter, right? It's 6 o'clock, but deals are still being finalized, and you're still waiting on bated breath, right? All right, 6:30. It's 6:40. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Like, the Phillies are playing right now. There's no way there was a move that nobody knew about that happened. Then you go, all right, that was it. I don't know how to feel about it. So coming up next, I will give takes. The opening segment was the reaction segment. I didn't want to come out here giving you take after take after take. But coming up next, we will talk about takes from a baseball perspective. There is no way, absolutely no way the Phillies should tailor their team around Trey Turner. Just absolutely no way. But they seem to be. We'll talk about that next here on The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
3 new faces at the deadline. I'm Connor Thomas. The Phillies made 3 moves at the deadline yesterday, acquiring Luis Ariz and reliever Caleb Killian from San Francisco, as well as lefty Brooks Raley from the Mets. The biggest surprise was what the Ariz move means for the infield, as he's expected to play second base, so a lot of shifting around has to happen. Don Mattingly talked about the plan for the infield yesterday.
The key for me is hard. Moving to the outfield was really the key to this. It kind of solidifies the outfield from what we can do. And the first thought is Bohm's going to play first, move Stott to third, and everything else stays the same.
So that's the idea. We'll see how things look as the team starts instituting these changes over the next couple of days. Last night, they had a big comeback win over Washington thanks to a 7th-inning grand slam by Derek Hill. Game 2 versus Washington tonight, 6:40 p.m. Jesus Luzardo on the mound against Zach Littell. Arias is expected to be available tonight, as are the other arms. The Eagles are continuing training camp today. First preseason game is next Saturday, the 15th, and the Union will face Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup group play Thursday night. We'll talk to Bob Nightingale coming up at 9:30 for his reaction to what the Phillies did at the trade deadline and what they didn't do at the trade deadline, not acquiring any starting pitching or a right-handed bat. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
This hour is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro.
It is 6:30 here on Mornings with Andrew. If you did not listen to the show yesterday, I just had the idea. I said, you know what, for the time being, until whenever the next iteration of the show begins, we're going to pick random Now That's What I Call music CDs. And yesterday was Now That's What I Call Music 25, which was from 2007. So what do we have today, Connor?
Today is 30 from 2009.
All right, so freshman year, sophomore year, high school, Andrew Salciunas, awkward long hair, weird jeans, pimples everywhere. Oh yeah, baby, this is my time. All right, this is when I was thriving, man.
So who sings that one? Do you know?
No idea.
It's Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga, yeah, I knew that one. I know who Lady Gaga is. I just don't know I don't know anybody's work.
Eventually, we're going to get a song that you know who sings it.
No, that's what you're going to figure out over the course of these couple of however long weeks. I don't know. I won't know any of these people. That's just who I am. All right. But I know everything about sports, which is why I'm always right.
Everything, huh?
That's why I'm always right. All right. So now it's time to give takes. The opening segment, I just wanted to break it down. All right. I wanted to talk about everything that happened yesterday and everything that didn't happen yesterday because they need a right-handed bat. They didn't get one. They needed starting pitching depth. They didn't get one because they think that Andrew Painter's back and Aaron Nola has been pitching better and blah, blah, blah. But the move yesterday, the big one that I am excited about, that's why I don't want Walter McRae tweeting me saying, oh, good grief, Andrew. No, I was really excited about the Luis Arraez trade because that is my kind of baseball player. I had to take the shot at the stat nerds yesterday. All right, the guy gets on base, hitting the ball. Isn't that crazy? Oh, well, his OBP is not much better than his batting average. Yeah, because he swings, and he hits the ball, and he knows how to hit, and he can hit it to all fields. Wow, what a novel concept. A guy that can put the bat on ball. Wow. Oh, my God, it's unbelievable. But, he doesn't hit 40 home runs, so he stinks. I don't get it. I love the addition of Luis Arraez. But when Luis Arraez comes here, your immediate thought is, all right, what's next? Because when they made the trade for Arraez, when we were on the air, we were reacting, okay, that means you have to change something in the infield. And I had been saying for weeks, for the Phillies to really be taken seriously post-trade deadline, they would have to get creative because I can't see the same starting lineup every single day. I did not want to acquire another platoon player that you're only going to see so often. So they get Arraez, and you're thinking, all right, either what's next, who's on the way out, or how are you going to realign this infield? Because Arraez is playing second base, so that means Bryson Stott is not playing second base. Bryson Stott is the better second baseman, but there was only one other position to put Luis Arraez, and that was first base. So they make the decision to put Arraez at second. And according to reports, that's what he wanted to play wherever he was traded. So the Phillies knew that going in. So now what do you do with Bryson Stott? The easiest answer is you put him at shortstop. Don't overthink it. You put him at shortstop. You move your potential Gold Glove second baseman to stay in the middle of the infield. You put him at shortstop. We've seen him play a good shortstop before, right? The year the Phillies went to the World Series, we saw him play solid shortstop. Gene Segura was playing second. Stott was playing short. And they say, no, we're either going to put him at third base or move him to the outfield. That was the initial reporting yesterday. I'm going, what are we talking about? Why move him to the outfield? What? Why would you do that? And then you hear eventually that it's going to be Stott to third, Bohm to first, Harper to the outfield, in which Bryce Harper has been open for a while now that for the right player, he would go to the outfield. Is Arraez the right player for that? Hear me out. You are now moving your potential Gold Glove second baseman to third base, which is where he started his major league career, but that was just for the time being. You are moving your potential Gold Glove first baseman to the outfield. You are keeping your league leader in errors at shortstop. When this was the time in season that if you were able to talk Trey Turner into it, if that's truly what this is all about, this was the time to do it. A couple weeks ago, when Don Mattingly's doing the whole "I stand by Trey," it would have just been a demotion. I guess you could say that. I don't know how. Would you call it a demotion? He's still in the lineup. Like, I wouldn't call it a demotion. It would be a admission to failure at shortstop if they did not make a trade and they moved Trey Turner. So 3 weeks ago, hey, Trey, we're just moving you out of this spot because you suck. And that's the answer that you're telling Trey Turner. When Trey Turner asks why, the answer is because you suck. But when you get the addition of Luis Arise, this was the very easy moment to say, hey, we need to move some pieces around. And the best thing for us right now is to either put you at third base, which is something that I have talked about, because I think if he plays third base, there's no time for him to think. He just goes out there, he plays third. You're still moving Bohm to first. You're still moving Harper to the outfield. Or you do what everyone thinks is the best idea, which I don't necessarily agree with, and that's move him to a corner outfield spot. You move him to left field, you move him to right field, and now your infield is Bryce Harper at first base. You have Luis Arise at second base. Alec Bohm stays at third, where he's turned his career around defensively, and you have Bryson Stott at shortstop. Is that not the most logical answer for this puzzle? Instead, they tailor around this guy, and there is no baseball reason why. Don Mattingly yesterday, after the trade deadline comes to an end, was asked about whether or not they considered moving Trey Turner off a shortstop.
0.
Do you know if he's open to it at all? If you were,
We didn't talk about it. We didn't discuss moving him, so there's no reason to talk to him.
I don't believe that, because there is no way they have watched this entire season and have said, from a baseball standpoint, this is the right move to make, keeping him at shortstop. It's got to be something deeper than that. It's either admission of failure from the front office saying, no, we paid that guy $300+ million. We can't move him. No, it'd be a bad look on us. Or it's Trey Turner having some sway in the decision. Because once more, I'll say it again, there is no baseball reason why Trey Turner should still be the shortstop of the Philadelphia Phillies. Can you give me a baseball reason, Connor, that Trey Turner is still the shortstop? Don't tell me what he wants. Don't tell me what he doesn't want. Don't tell me what he's comfortable with, because he's clearly not comfortable at shortstop because he stinks at it. So from a baseball standpoint, can you explain to me why the defensive alignments will change so much that Gold Glove potential first baseman is going to the outfield, Gold Glove potential second baseman is going to third base, and Butcher, to steal the word from John Kincaid, at shortstop remains the same?
It makes ground balls to shortstop more interesting for the fans.
Yeah, no, that's not a good enough answer.
There is none. There's absolutely none. I think what people need to realize is that Trey Turner has this organization by the short ones. Like, he has control over this.
All right, then I need Dave Dombrowski to call Dr. Ravidan Appel and the team at Iron Mountain Men's Health. I don't know if he helps in that area, but we need big ones now. All right, because enough is enough. Like, they have fallen short of the goal each of the last 3 seasons in different ways. In embarrassing fashion in 23. You didn't show up in 24. And, oh, by the way, you did not win in 25 because of what? Fundamentals.
Yep.
And weren't one of the issues the throw home from the shortstop that you're keeping at that position?
Yes. So if you need to know who's at fault here, to me it's very simple. There are 2 options. Either 2 Hall of Fame caliber baseball minds cannot see that the worst defensive shortstop in baseball is the worst defensive shortstop in baseball. I don't believe that's the case. So that leaves us one option for where to point the blame. And it's Trey Turner. That he refuses to move from that position, that he is not willing to do that he's had those conversations in the past and believes he's entitled to play shortstop for the Phillies, and the organization looks at it and says, well, we owe him all this money. He's going to be here for a very long time, and if we make this a bad situation between us and him, we're either going to have to eat a boatload of money,
make a trade we get nothing back or whatsoever, or it's going to be really bad for the locker room.
So if that's the case, then I hate Trey Turner as a person, if that's the case. Because then that means this guy can't let his ego get out of the way. He can't get out of the way his own ego. If that is the case, if the true story comes out, which would be after the season comes to an end and somebody speaks anonymously to a reporter, if the true story comes out that it was Trey Turner whining to stay at shortstop, then I will dislike him as an individual, not just as a baseball player, because then I think you are impacting the team for your own personal feelings. And if that's the case, then I don't like you. Then I don't respect you. Now, look, that might not be the case. Maybe Dave Dombrowski thinks this is the right move. And if that's the case, then I will continue to think that Dave Dombrowski's living off his resume. Because I've been saying that for years, too.
That's not living off your resume. That's being blind. That's seeing something that nobody else sees. I don't know how it's possible that a dude that has been in the game for that long, and Don Mattingly on top of that, because I know he's an interim manager, he has some sway, at least a little bit, to have those conversations. And they're both doubling down on no, we haven't talked about. The only reason we haven't considered that is because we previously had the conversation with Trey. He was completely against ever doing it. It's like, okay, that conversation's forever off the table. That's the only way this is happening.
And if that's the case, then shame on Trey Turner, because then Trey Turner is impacting the Philadelphia Phillies, and he's impacting the city of Philadelphia. 16 errors at shortstop in 2022, led the league in 2023 with 23, 17 errors in 2024, had a much, much, much better fielding season in 2025 with just 8 errors, and then it skyrocketed to 18. So what's the outlier now? This season with 8. The consistent is the teens, if not more, when he led the league with errors in 2023 with 23. By the way, he could reach double or 20 this year. He's 2 errors away. And if Major League Baseball still called errors the way that they should call errors, he's already in the 20s. They just take him off all the time. I need somebody to explain to me why Trey Turner is still at shortstop.
There's one more level to this real quick, too. All you Phillies fans out there better appreciate the hell out of Bryce Harper more than some of you have been for moving to the outfield, because he could easily be doing this, too. Oh, it's all about Bryce. He's the showman. He only cares about himself.
He moved to the outfield.
That dude's willing to move. Yep. And people treat him like he doesn't care about anything. Meanwhile, you got a shortstop who's got you held hostage, and we're just looking at it like, oh, it's Dave Dombrowski potentially.
And this is why when I get Walter McCray tweeting at me, good grief, when I break it all down to you, yes, they are better today. At 6:01 p.m. last night, they were a better baseball team. But did they solve the issues that have plagued this team for the last 3 postseasons? Right-handed pop, poor fundamentals. Did they fix that yesterday? Those answers are still no. So, reaction coming up next. Davis on a text line. Feel the Davis difference. Check him out in Burlington. I kind of just want your gut feeling post-trade deadline. Are you angry? Are you thrilled? Are you confused like me? Do you think that they are World Series contenders? Do you think that they did this to just win another series? Are they a good club? Like, what is it? What is your gut feel reaction? Because I can't be just angry, but I also can't just be lying to you and saying this was a great trade deadline for the Phillies. They got better. But how much? 610-632-0975. Coming up next, we'll get your reaction. Does this team scream World Series? It's Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The goal.
Superstar, where you from? How's it going? I know you got a clue what you're doing. You can play brand new to
No
all
idea.
the other
648 here on Mornings with Andrew. I know the song. You are, baby.
One of the most famous pop stars of all time. This is Britney Spears.
All right, Britney Spears. Hey, good to know. All right. How's she doing these days?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Just gonna say I'm not sure.
It's a horrible story. So, I just wonder how she's doing. All
No,
right.
she might be all right. She kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah. I know. I see it on social media. It always pops up on the timeline. All right. We'll get to the Davis Honda text line. We can feel the Davis difference. Check them out in Burlington here in a minute because Connor said a lot of people are weighing in. But two things. One, I saw a comment on our YouTube chat from my man, the Dominican Austin Wells, talking about Pop from the right side. And he was like, come on, Shooter, shake my head. Derek Hill has it. I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not. So I'm going to be fair here because I can't read the tone of your message. But if you are saying that he's got Pop, his Pop right now, I love you, Derek Hill, superstar, cult hero role player guy. But if he hits one more home run this year, it'll be the first time in his 7-year career he has 10. He doesn't have Pop. Now, he has not been an everyday player in his previous stops, and he's not one here either. The most games he's ever played in the regular season is 82. That's this year. He's playing more than he's ever played before, so maybe he just hasn't had his chance. I don't know, but I'm not going to rely on Derek Hill being the right-handed Pop that this team has needed since 2023. But big moment last night for him. Also, one other thing. I didn't see this till just now. Our own Colin Newby does a great job all over the place covering the Phillies in the dugout, in the locker room. He was one of the guys at the scrum of Dave Dombrowski yesterday. Bryson Stott was asked about moving his position from second base. Quote, it should not be lost that our superstar first baseman, 2-time MVP, is willing to move. What are we going to say? No, we're not moving? Did Trey Turner say that? I mean, Don Mattingly said 0 consideration, 0 conversations. You'll hear from Dave Dombrowski coming up to start the 7 o'clock hour. Pretty much said the same thing. Somebody is lying. Either Trey Turner is going to hide and not tell his truth, or Don Mattingly and Dave Dombrowski are lying. Because there is no way, once more, I will reiterate the point, that from a baseball standpoint, you can tell me mindset, you can tell me feelings, you can tell me all those things. I don't care about those right now. There's no reason from a baseball standpoint that you can tell me that the one guy that isn't going to move his position is the worst player at their position. What do we have in the text line?
All right, so we have a bunch of reaction to the trade deadline. We'll check in with Joe the Cynic first, who says the Phillies moved a top 5 prospect in an organization that is ranked one of the worst with prospects. So what really is he? Sure, he dominates A-ball. We still have 3 years to go before he's up. Talking about Ramon Marquez.
That's like I really don't get it. I know that I am probably over the top with my lack of care for prospects. Like I literally don't care about them. I would trade them every single day. But I don't understand the people that are, like, outraged. We did the same thing with Eduardo Tait last year. Anybody complain about John Duran right now? No. Nobody's complaining about him. Now, Arise is a free agent at the end of this year. So what if he leaves and you gave up a top prospect or one of your top prospects? Understand your frustration there. But to Joe's point, all right, so he's a good prospect in a bad farm system. And he's 20 years old. A lot of things still have to go right, guys. That's what I always say, proven versus unknown. I know that Luis Arise hits 300 in the major leagues. I know nothing about whether or not this guy can pitch to a sub-3.5 ERA in the major leagues. And we won't know that for years.
Yeah, when you're trading prospects at the deadline, the Phillies are essentially playing the house. How often does the house win? Very often.
Yeah.
That's why the casinos are what they are. And here's the thing. I like to gamble. So sometimes you do take that shot on a prospect. But at this point, you're getting a guy that's a 3-time batting champion for a team that desperately needs to win in this window or they are in trouble anyway.
And by the way, he fits what this lineup needs, a guy that can get on base. That's a period. All right, what else we got?
Mike from Levittown. Interesting here on the Trey Turner conversation. Wants to see him kept at shortstop. He's hitting .310 in his last 40 games. They win when he hits. He's won a World Series as a shortstop. It's far from perfect, but you deal with it. The bigger issue is Bohm hitting under .230 in August, who we know they don't want on the team, is still finding his way into every lineup.
Oh, but Dave Dombrowski said he likes him. He's a big Alec Bohm fan all of a sudden, even though he's tried trading him the last 2 off seasons. Look, I get what you're saying about Trey Turner and what he's been hitting recently. Maybe it's why I'm not in the big leagues, Connor. I was that close. That close to getting to the big leagues.
I know you were.
Maybe this is the reason why I'm not in the big leagues, because I was willing to change positions whenever they asked me to. You know, maybe if I stayed at one position, I would have hit better. Like, what is this? Is Trey I have to ask, guys. Like, we do this all the time. We try to, I think we all hit the pen and try to overthink things sometimes. You mean to tell me that if Trey Turner moved from shortstop to third base, right? How many feet is that? 45 feet? Not even?
Not even.
Not even? Because that 45 feet would be middle of the, between second and third and the line. So maybe 30 feet. You mean to tell me Trey Turner moving 30 feet to his right, or 100 feet backwards, 150 feet behind him, the left field, he's going to go up the bat and go, oh my God, I'm playing left field today. He's going to go up the bat. There's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming his way. Is it crossing his mind, I better get this hit because I'm playing third base today? Like, what are we doing here?
I think there's something to that.
I don't.
No,
I think it's complete bullcrap.
Because it might not be for you mentally or for the average Major League Baseball player mentally. Is Trey Turner somebody you look at as mentally tough?
No,
okay.
He's not.
So then maybe
we had to do a freaking standing ovation for the guy so that he could feel comfortable.
So maybe these little influences that shouldn't affect other people affect him. Now, is that something where we could look at the player and be like, dude, why are you where you are mentally right now?
Is he hitting 300 because he's making errors at shortstop? To me, I would be down on myself if I keep hurting the team because he keeps hurting the team defensively.
Yeah, that's a very, very fair point.
That's how my mentality works. Mm-hmm. It's not, oh, am I comfortable today? How is that going to make me go on with the rest of my day? No, it's, did I impact everybody else around me in a negative way? That's going to screw me up.
Yeah, so many people just treat players and athletes how they should act and how they should be comfortable and not what they are. Like, ideally or realistically, you should be able to move him positions. And I'm not arguing to keep him at shortstop. I would move him anyway.
Yes.
I'm just saying there is part of that you have to at least think about.
Well, I think it's stupid. What's the poll of the day looking like, Connor? Brought to us by Dr. Avedon Appel and the team at Iron Mountain Men's Health. You said that they got the Phillies. Trey Turner's got the Phillies by the short ones.
Yeah, he does.
Dr. Avedon Appel could maybe help that. What do we got?
Did the Phillies do enough at the trade deadline to make themselves World Series contenders? Yes or no are two options. 88% of responders are saying no.
Yeah, look, they got better yesterday. Do I look at them and I say World Series team Philadelphia Phillies? I hesitate to say yes. But once again, if they match up with the Dodgers in round one, it all starts with 3 names. And it's not Harper, Turner, Schwarber. It's Sanchez, Wheeler, Luzardo. And I know that I'm in the game. Each of those starts, I know that I'm in the game. Am I guaranteeing a win? No. But am I guaranteeing that through 6 innings, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat? Absolutely. All right, coming up next, more reaction and more on Trey Turner. Because I've started to overthink this one a little bit. In a good way, Connor. Are they putting him in a horrible position? And I'm not talking about shortstop. It's Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The deadline is done. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies made 3 moves ahead of the trade deadline yesterday, acquiring Luis Arraez and reliever Caleb Killian from San Francisco, as well as lefty Brooks Raley from the Mets. Those are the 3 major league acquisitions that they had, and the biggest surprise was what the Arraez move means for the infield. He's expected to play second base. Bryce Harper expected to go back to right field. Bohm the first, Stott to third. Trey Turner hanging out right at shortstop. Now, something the Phillies didn't do is acquire starting pitching depth. Dave Dombrowski talked about that yesterday.
Well, a little. The choice came in. Did you end up getting a guy that's a 5th starter that you don't think is as good as your guy that you have now? An option, the guy that you think has a better chance to win to help your depth, or do what we're doing? And we figured we'd do what we were doing.
So the Phillies are going to continue to do what they're doing. We'll see how things look as the team starts instituting these changes over the next couple of days. Last night, they had a big comeback win over Washington thanks to a 7th-inning grand slam by Derek Hill. Game 2 against the Nats tonight, 6:40 p.m. Jesus Luzardo versus Zach Littell. Arias is expected to be available tonight, including the other arms as well. The Eagles are continuing training camp today. Their first preseason game is next Saturday, the 15th. The Union will face Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup group play Thursday night. And Bob Nightingale will join us at 9:30 for the national perspective on the Phillies move at the deadline. This update is brought to you by Verizon Business. Verizon Business experts love small businesses, so they come directly to you on your schedule with real expertise tailored to your needs. Make an appointment with a Verizon Business expert. Go to Verizon.com/book today. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic.
I see you 7 o'clock. Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Bounce back music. Now that's what I call 30 edition. I still have no idea who these people are. I know the song, though. I mean, this came out in high school, so I will know every single song that's played today.
And not a single artist.
No. Who's this?
This is Kevin Rudolph.
Of course. Love his time during the holidays. Great work. All right, so the Phillies win yesterday. It's a day of celebration for that because it was a great, great moment. Derek Hill with the grand slam yesterday in the bottom of the 7th inning. They tack on 2 more runs in the 8th. Bryce Harper goes yard again, having a very good season. I mean, I know the month has not been good, but he is having a very good season. And, you know, when the season comes to an end, because you know he's going to go on his hot streak, when the season comes to an end, he'll probably be hitting right around 260. He'll probably have around 30 home runs. And if there's guys on base in front of him, he'll drive them in. And he'll probably finish with around 80 RBI. And I know it's not MVP season, Bryce Harper, but that's still a good year. But the trade deadline is the big talking point this morning. The trade deadline is what they did and what they didn't do yesterday. What they did was get better. We could end the conversation there if you wanted to. There are some people out there that I'm sure that do. Leave it at that, Andrew. They got better. But then the next level is, did they get good enough?
Did they make enough moves for you to say they can compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers? I will continue to stand by what I have been saying for now 2 years. Not 2 weeks, not 2 months, 2 years. Sanchez, Wheeler, Luzardo, I know that in the first 6 innings, my team has a chance of winning. And that's against the Pirates, and that's against the Dodgers. I know my team has a chance of winning. Now, that chance could be at 0-0 through 6 innings. That does not mean they're up 5-0 because it depends on what the bats do. And so yesterday, the addition of Luis Arraez, your lineup automatically got better because it got deeper. Everybody from the 4 spot down to 9 moves down 1, right? Obviously, you're going to have to move some guys around because you can't bat 10 guys. So everybody moves down 1 spot. You're going to platoon some guys. But the problem that has plagued this team for 3 years now is right-handed pop, and Luis Arraez did not fix that. Luis Arraez can hit anybody, lefty or righty, but he's going to be batting first or second in the order. That means Bryce Harper still does not have protection, and that is exactly what we have been talking about for years. Unless Luis Arraez is batting cleanup, and you go, all right, Harper's batting third. If they do walk him, Arraez can hit a single, and Bryce Harper's first and third. And now you have Alec Boehm. Hopefully he comes through and doesn't hit a 5-4-3 double play. But the problem remains the same. There is no right-handed pop to protect the guys in the middle of the order, the guys that are supposed to do the most damage for you. The bullpen got better yesterday. The starting pitching depth that we have been hearing about for weeks did not. They did not even address it. Dave Dombrowski, we played the clip earlier. He said, look, we made calls, but there was nobody out there that we really wanted, that we weren't going to give up a ton for. And they also liked what they saw out of Andrew Painter for 1 start. That 1 start was probably enough for Dave Dombrowski to say, we're going to hold off on making a trade. That can either go really, really well for the Phillies, or that could completely blow up in their face, and now Andrew Painter's confidence is completely shot because you didn't make a move because of his 1 outing. But I wanted to get into this before we get to more text messages, because today's a day of reaction, because today is a day where it's okay to be confused. Before we get back to the text line, majority of texts, angry, happy, shut up, Andrew, be more positive. Like, what's the vibe, the feel, the tone of the text line this morning?
Yeah, it's pretty balanced, honestly. They got better, but they didn't get good enough. Doesn't matter. And a lot of people talking about the defensive alignment and where that comes from with the Trey Turner not moving thing.
All right. So we're all over the place, and that's great. I love topics like that because, again, I'm all over the place. I'm confused. They got better, but I'm not thrilled. The Trey Turner thing's really going to piss me off if it comes out eventually that he just didn't want to move. Bryson Stott talking in the dugout yesterday. You know, if we're watching Bryce Harper move, why wouldn't I? Well, why wouldn't Trey? Because there's no baseball reason to keep him at shortstop. There's no baseball reason. He's going to lead the league in errors at shortstop again this year. It's just going to happen again.
It's funny. The Trey Turner thing bothers me less than the not getting starting pitching thing. Because I'd rather bet on Turner playing shortstop with what he's able to do at the plate than bet on having Aaron Nola or Andrew Painter potentially start a playoff game.
I hear you, but that's 1 game.
Yeah, but it could be a very important game. That means you have no margin for error with the top 3 guys.
Yeah, or you're down because of Trey Turner's inability to field the ball at shortstop.
I'm not saying any of it's ideal. I'm just saying, to me, I think the more dangerous thing is having 3 starting pitchers for 2 months of baseball.
I get it,
and
but
then
I would rather fix the 6 days a week thing before I fix the 1 day a week thing, right? Like that's what I would rather do first. And so going into break, I was saying, are the Phillies putting Trey Turner in a horrible position? And we can make all the jokes we want about, yeah, they're keeping him at shortstop. You guys do realize that the second he makes an error, or if Bryson Stott looks uncomfortable in the outfield, it's going to get loud, right? Now, we might realize that. Does the Phillies organization realize that? So Trey Turner, because I'm not trying to speak in absolutes because we don't know. If Trey Turner is the reason why he didn't move out of shortstop, regardless of what the truth is, even if that's not true, prepare to hear from the Phillies faithful. When there will be 45,000 people in a playoff push, and if you bobble a ball at shortstop, and this city is smart enough to understand that you could have been moved to a different position, it's going to get loud because people are already frustrated with you. This was the easy way to move you from that position. And if it is your doing that you're staying at shortstop, people are going to get angry. If Bryson Stott bobbles a ball in the outfield, people are going to get angry saying, this guy hasn't played outfield his entire major league career. Why is he out there right now? If Luis Arise bobbles a ball at second base, people might get a little upset because they'll think Bryson Stott should be there. I'm okay with him playing second. I hate the moves that followed after it. Is it safe to say that Trey Turner is in actually kind of a horrible position right now? Because the second he makes an error, even if it's not for another 5 games, he's going to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's in the worst position of anybody on this team. He is. Maybe Aaron Nola and Andrew Painter you could put in there because of what we were talking about. But he's in a really, really bad spot. And I don't understand why the organization would be intentionally putting him in that bad spot.
I don't know. Well, Dave Dombrowski talked about it. This was Dave Dombrowski yesterday after the trade deadline. There were obviously a lot of questions being asked. Here he was talking about the shortstop.
Was there any thought as you're rearranging the infield kind of shifting him to second or the outfield?
It was not at this point, no. And, he has not had a good defensive year compared to last year. He's been a little better here recently. He went through that struggling time, but no, there was not that consideration.
All right, I will once again repeat what I said earlier. You're right. He's having a worse season than last year. But if you look at the last 4 seasons, last year is the outlier. Last year, the only 8 errors, which probably should have been more if baseball scored appropriately. But last year, he had only 8 errors. He led the league with 23 in 2023. He has 18 already this year. He had 17 in 2022. Baseball players, good and bad, have outlier years. Bad players have outlier years where they looked really good. Good players have some outlier years where they look pretty bad. Trey Turner, as a defensive shortstop, the outlier year was the one good year in the last 4. So I hate when Dave Dombrowski tries to talk down to everybody and thinks that he knows all. It's either Dave Dombrowski truly believes what he is saying, that's a concern, or Trey Turner is refusing to move from the position. And if that's the case, then I don't like the individual.
And my argument to that is what's more likely? That a guy that has a Hall of Fame baseball resume can't see that the guy that all the normal people are seeing, all the peons that are Philadelphia sports fans, and you don't know what Dave Dombrowski knows because he's got his resume to list off. Is he not seeing the games? Like, is he just missing all of this? Is there some number that tells him he's good? Is that possible? Or is it more realistic that the star shortstop you're paying a lot of money doesn't want to change positions?
Well, and if that's the case, then that's horrible. And I would look to move him this offseason.
How?
I would find a way. I would look to move him because then he's hurting the team.
Yeah.
Like he's hurting the team. And I would look to move somebody that is hurting the team based off of their own ego.
Is Anthony Rendon hurting the team in Los Angeles?
He's not playing anymore.
Well, they couldn't move him. Like, this contract...
because he didn't want to play baseball.
Okay. Do you think there are teams that are going to see this and question, hey, why are you moving Trey Turner? Why didn't you move him off as shortstop? You don't think other teams know? You don't think other teams have an idea of what's going on in Philly?
Look, I hear you. It's just this is a problem. And I would hate him if I was a teammate. Like, I would hate him. I would say, why are you doing this? You are impacting us negatively for your own feelings. Yeah, I would not like him for that.
Like, I'm not talking in absolutes, and you made a great point earlier. We do not know.
Yeah, the Phillies might think this is actually best, and then that's another concern.
But to me, the Phillies are an organization that has made the postseason 4 years in a row. Say what you want about how they played in the postseason. Guys, they missed out on all of that crap. They're not a stupid organization. They put a winning baseball team on the field. And if you're telling me that the guys in charge of this organization can't see Trey Turner as terrible defensively at shortstop, then they know nothing about baseball. I think it's more logical that the reasoning is Trey doesn't want to do it.
All right, and so here's one thing to get into. And Greg on our YouTube chat saying Salciunas Harper did play outfield. I was talking about Stott because there was at one point a report that Stott could go to the outfield. let's say Turner has a horrible week defensively this week and the next, right? It's just a horrible week. Are you going to just make another change?
What do you mean another change?
Like at some point, if he keeps on playing bad at shortstop, Dave Dombrowski can speak all the dribble he wants about he's been playing better as of late. Like, no, he's not. If he's bad, you can't just continue to do it. Like
Yes, you can. Watch him.
And that would be stupid.
Why would they change it now? They just had the perfect opportunity. They said no. What are you waiting for? They're not moving him off of shortstop
to almost show. All right, look, damn, you stink. I gotta move you. Sorry, Trey. I know because if this is Trey Turner's want, and if Trey Turner has a couple more bad games defensively, then that's you sit him down and you say, look, we're moving you.
What more are we going to learn about him defensively in the next month or two that we haven't already seen? Like, there's not more. If he doesn't realize it now, he's not going to realize it. If they didn't move him now, they're never going to move him.
That's horrible.
Okay, well, that's where we're at.
All right. What do we got on the Davis Honda text line? And this is why it's a confusing day, because they're better today. The Philadelphia Phillies, as of August 4th, are better than where they were on August 2nd. They're better than what they were August 3rd before the trade for Luis Arraez. They are a better baseball team this morning. But, man, do they still have flaws. And, man, are there still things that we're questioning. Hey, who's calling the shots here? Because if they truly think Trey Turner is the best shortstop on this team, then I'm worried about the baseball acumen. If Trey Turner believes he's the best shortstop on this team, then his ego's way in the way of himself. What do we got on the Davis Honda text line?
Dave in Mount Laurel checks in and says, they got better. They still lose to the Dodgers in a series, so it's hard to say it was a slam dunk. Not sure there was enough magic to be had yesterday to beat the Dodgers. I'm okay with the moves, but it's hard to be ecstatic.
Yeah, it's hard to be ecstatic, but I will continue to say it. Like, every game that is started by Christopher Sanchez, Zach Wheeler, and Jesus Luzardo, the morning of, we will feel butterflies like they have a chance today. We will. Everybody can say what they want on August 4th about wake me up when they can't beat the Dodgers. They can't do this. What's the point, right? Yesterday, that was one of the topics. What's the point of even making a trade? And then when they made the trade, everybody in the city was excited. And then everybody in the city thought, all right, this is step one to being World Series contenders. And then they didn't make another move that is flashy. And so now we're all miserable today. And now our Twitter poll from Dr. Avedon Appel and the team at Iron Mountain Men's Health is 90% of people say no, they're not World Series contenders. Right, we are doing the ebbs and flows of baseball fandom because of a trade deadline. The trade deadline is about getting better. The Phillies did do that. And I know that regardless of how you feel about this organization, regardless of how you feel about the team, that the morning of Game 1, when Christopher Sanchez is on the mound, you're going to say, we have a chance of stealing this one. The morning of Game 2, if the Phillies take Game 1, you're going to say, oh, my God, they can go up 2-0 in this series because we have Zach Wheeler on the mound. If it's 1-1, you're going to go into Game 3 saying, wow, this is the pivotal Game 3, and we could take it because we have Jesus Luzardo on the mound. It's unfair to completely ignore that stuff. But it's also unfair to be the super positive Phillies fan and say, how dare you be so negative? Because the reason why this team lost in the playoffs the last 3 years is some of the same reasons. All right, what else we got?
All right, we have a check-in here from Joe in Malvern who says, the bottom line with Trey Turner is they're more concerned about his feelings than putting their best defensive team out there.
Yeah, and look, and if that's the case, then shame on everybody involved. Shame on everybody involved. It's one thing if this was the bad year for Trey Turner, if this was the outlier, and you can point back to the last 2 or 3 seasons of data to say, this is why we're keeping Trey Turner at shortstop. But that's not the case. If they are worried about his feelings, then what's the difference between Don Mattingly and Rob Thompson? Nothing. I was told that Don Mattingly was going to right the ship and he was going to do the things that Rob Thompson refused to do. He was going to move guys around. He was going to change the approach at the plate because he played baseball, because he understands it. And he doesn't care more about feelings like Rob Thompson does. He just cares about results. Don Mattingly's doing the exact same stuff. And, oh, by the way, maybe Don Mattingly is handcuffed by the organization, much like Rob Thompson was handcuffed by the organization at times. A lot of decisions come from up top, guys. And it could be Dave Dombrowski's decision to keep Trey Turner at shortstop. And if that's the case, shame on him, shame on Trey Turner, shame on everybody involved. Because you're lying to yourselves and you're lying to the city, you're lying to the fans that are there night in and night out, watching TV or in attendance, or the people that made the trip to Baltimore. You're lying to them if you think this is what's best for the baseball team.
Now, again, I'm going to bring up the Aaron Nola, Andrew Painter not getting starting pitching thing because I think we are missing maybe the bigger issue of the trade deadline. I know Trey is the focus because of how much he's making and how long we've been having this conversation and everything. It's a great stat from Destiny Legardo about last night's game. Did you know that was the first time the Philadelphia Phillies have won a game that their fourth or fifth spot in the rotation has started since June 24th?
Yeah, it makes sense because they did the Ron Hell experience for a month.
Right, but that's over a month that you have not won a single game that your fourth or fifth starter has started. And that's Aaron Nola, and Andrew Painter's mixed in there too with his most recent. They've won games with Trey Turner playing shortstop. They've won a lot of games with Trey Turner playing shortstop. I know it bothers us. I'm not saying it's good, but I think you can win with him playing shortstop.
Yeah, in the regular season. And then come playoff time when games are tighter, when it's the best teams. You're not playing the Rockies. You're not playing the Pirates. Look at the Phillies' record against teams over 500. You were the one that pointed that out to me when you were saying that the Phillies might not even make the playoffs this year. You look at those things and you go, okay, so against the best teams where you need to play at your best, not just hit home runs, but you need to play fundamentally sound baseball, the Phillies don't really do that all that well. And it kind of starts with a shortstop that is always toward the top in errors.
And against the worst teams, you can't damn pitch against them. At least you can beat the worst teams with Trey Turner at shortstop. You can't win against. They were losing to Mets.
Yeah.
That team stinks.
Yeah, it was a bad series.
I know the Trey Turner thing is very important. And this could be like organizational malpractice at a lot of levels to make this happen. We got to figure that out. But I think that where we should be focused a little bit more is the fact that they didn't add starting pitching depth.
Says you, because that's what you wanted.
Exactly. I'm allowed to be biased. Hey, come on.
All right, coming up next. Speaking of what you said a few Mondays ago, Connor Thomas said he wasn't so sure that the Phillies would make the playoffs. Well, how are we feeling today at making the playoffs? We're not talking World Series. Dave Dombrowski even said yesterday, we got to get to the playoffs first. How are we feeling today? 3 straight wins. They did get better at the deadline, but other teams got better too. We're going to update you on the standings, and we'll discuss some of the other moves that happen around Major League Baseball, and we're going to buy or sell on some of these other teams that are competing for playoff spots. That comes your way next. This is Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Phil's at Arias. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies made 3 moves at the deadline yesterday, acquiring Luis Arias and reliever Caleb Killian from San Francisco, as well as lefty Brooks Raley from the Mets. The biggest surprise was what the Arias move means for the infield, as he's expected to play second base, which means some guys are going to have to move around. Manager Don Mattingly talked about the infield changes as a result of the move yesterday.
The key for me is hard. Moving to the outfield is really the key to this. It kind of solidifies the outfield from what we can do. And the first thought is Bohm's going to play first, move stop to third, and everything else stays the same.
There's also been mention of potentially Bryson Stott going to the outfield and some other changes there. Trey Turner expected to stay at shortstop, which people are not happy about. But we'll see how things look as this team starts to institute these new changes over the next couple of days. Last night, they had a big comeback win over the Nationals thanks to a 7th-inning grand slam by none other than Derek Hill. Game 2 versus Washington is tonight at 6:40 p.m. Jesus Luzardo faces Zach Littell. Arias and the other trade deadline acquisitions are expected to be available tonight. The Eagles are continuing training camp today. Their first preseason game is next Saturday, the 15th. The Union will face Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup group play Thursday night. And we're going to talk to Bob Nightingale of USA Today, national baseball reporter. Got a lot of deadline information. He'll talk to us about what the Phillies did at 9:30. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic app.
Hours brought to you by the BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook. Live bet sports on the BetParks app and play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks Online Casino and Sportsbook. Must be 21 plus in PA, New Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Unbelievable that you play this song, because last night it was stuck in my head.
Yeah, really?
Yes. And then my buddies quickly reminded, like, you can't sing that anymore.
Yeah, Kanye's not in great standing.
And I was like, oh, yeah. You know, like, there's songs like that. Like, look, R. Kelly's
Ignition
R.
remix?
R. Kelly's Ignition is a bop, dude. Like, but you sing it out loud and you're like, oh, God. Like, should I sing that song anymore? Like, that's kind of, I feel gross. I feel gross singing that song. Man, when I hear it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, it's still on Now 30 from 2009.
And I'm like, oh, wait, I don't want to sing that because that guy's a bit of a creep. And then there's Kanye, where that era of Kanye, like literally high school Andrew, high school Connor, like the dude was on top of the world. And then he wasn't. You're like, do I still sing those songs? Do I still listen to that music?
You can make your own individual determination on that.
Now that's what I call 30 is our CD that we're playing today.
Now that's what I call canceled.
You might be able to do that entire CD. I would imagine there's that many people that have been canceled over the years. And you could do it now. That's what I call canceled.
You could absolutely. You could do multiple versions of that.
All right. Scanning our YouTube chat. This goes to show you how confusing. Confusing, I believe, is the right word. I think I have the right word. Our old buddy Tyrone Johnson used to do the word of the day. Like, confusing might be the word of the day. Or confused. Because that's what this trade deadline is making me feel. Brian checks in on our YouTube chat. Brian Swanson. Great character. Isn't that the character from Family Guy? Joe Swanson. He chimes in. Our biggest needs was bullpen and on-base guys. I think they did well at the deadline. Got 3 good pieces and didn't really give up much. That is a completely fair response. It's why I started the show with, if I'm just talking about the deadline and I'm not talking about the Philadelphia 2026 Phillies and the years of past where they've come up small, you are right. We wake up today, they are a better baseball team. But then Noel also chimes in. Is this not championship or bust? You're not wrong either, Noel, because I don't believe that they made the moves yesterday for me to say World Series champion Philadelphia Phillies. But I will continue to hit the point that for 3 games a series, maybe 6, depending on how many times they go, if I have the lineup come out, or we know the probable pitchers, we know what the Phillies are going to do setting up their rotation for a playoff series. I know that I have 3 chances to win. 3 legitimate chances to win when Sanchez, Wheeler, and Lazard are on the mound. And that's why this team's so confusing. And that's why you should not completely count them out. But it's also why you should not ignore the shortcomings of years past, because they have the exact same team. Except now Luis Ariz. Alec Bohm is still going to be your right-handed pop that doesn't exist. You're still going to rely now on guys like Derek Hill and Brian De La Cruz to come through for you. Like you've relied in years past of other guys that were not supposed to really put too much on their plate. It's the same thing. It's all about getting hot, and I hate that. All right, so before we get to more text messages, Field of Davis difference, check them out in Burlington, Davis Honda, 610-632-0975. Let's look at some other teams in Major League Baseball and what they did yesterday. The Phillies, as of this morning, are tied with the Arizona Diamondbacks with a record of 60-53, which is good for the second and third wild card spots in the National League. The San Diego Padres are 2 games back of both the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. The Miami Marlins are 2 games back of both the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. The Pittsburgh Pirates are 3.5 back. The St. Louis Cardinals are 4 games back. The Cardinals sold off some assets yesterday. The Pirates didn't really make some gigantic splash. The Marlins, I don't think, really did anything of note, but the San Diego Padres did. And the San Diego Padres got a player that you, Connor, and a lot of people were really interested in, and it was starting pitcher Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray has been pitching very well for the San Francisco Giants this year in a year where they have not had much to really be excited about. And so the San Diego Padres, they get a legit arm that adds to their rotation. And again, you don't have much ground in front of them. They are just 2 games behind you. They're also just 2 games back of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, I like what the Phillies did at the deadline more than what the Arizona Diamondbacks did. So if I'm talking about which team between Philly and Arizona that I think have a better chance of locking in a playoff spot, I would say Philadelphia. But do I believe that it's a lock that the San Diego Padres won't go on some run and won't push somebody out? I don't believe that to be the case. The Chicago Cubs, a team that are, fighting for a playoff spot right now. The Cubs are the top team in the wild card. They're 4 games up of the Philadelphia Phillies. The Cubs' biggest issue, pitching. What did they do yesterday? They got pitching. They got Clay Holmes yesterday. Yesterday, you wanted pitching. The Phillies did not get pitching, right? So the Cubs had a need, and they addressed it with a move. You look at some of the teams around you, they got better also. So we can say that the Phillies are better as of this morning, but you can also make the case that some of the teams that are behind you, right with you, or ahead of you also got better yesterday.
Yeah, the one team that you didn't really bring up, which is interesting to me because I think that's a fair evaluation of the teams trying to track you down. The Braves didn't really do much at the deadline, which is really kind of interesting.
No, they added to the margins. And look, they're in first place. They're up 8.5 games, now 7.5 games because of yesterday. They're 7.5 games ahead of the Phillies. They're probably thinking we don't need to do some major splash.
But that would be holding on to the division. Are they looking at the Dodgers and thinking they're competitive to them?
Yeah, unless they're relying on some guys that are hurt to come back. Right?
I guess so.
Ronald Acuna Jr., who knows about Spencer Strider? Just, is he available? Is he not available? I like what the Milwaukee Brewers did yesterday. They added to their bullpen with their old buddy, Mr. Red Bull, Jojo Romero, yesterday. They also got Dustin May, who, does he stay healthy is the big thing for him. That guy's an absolute flamethrower from the right side. Also, one other note for the Cubs, they got Glanzman on over the weekend. So, the Cubs added to their rotation. Every team needs starting pitching. And then there's the confusing teams that you don't have to worry about in the American League, like the Seattle Mariners, who got Taylor Ward, who, when they took a Rosarena off the board and acquired Taylor Ward, that was a double whammy for the Phillies because they could have used either of those players, and they didn't get any of them.
Yeah. The AL's weird, man. I don't know what the Twins are doing. The Orioles trading Adley Rutschman to the Red Sox, that feels like giving up on a really talented player way too early. A lot of weird stuff in the AL, but the AL's more open because you don't have to deal with the specter of the Dodgers waiting for you.
Yeah, and if you get to a World Series, you got to a World Series.
Exactly.
Right? Whether you win or lose, you got to the freaking World Series. So, I would take that. I would take that as a fan of a team. So, you look around baseball. Yes, the Phillies got better. So did a couple other teams. And, of course, the Dodgers got Tarek Skubal, which that led to the entire conversation yesterday about what's the point. I'm in too deep. We're in too deep, man. So they had to go after it. And they did, and they got better. And I'm still confused by it. What do we have on the Davis Honda text line?
All right, we have more people checking in on the trade deadline moves.
Yeah, I know we have a lot. I want to get to a lot of reaction today because I know a lot of people have texted in. You know me. I want to hear from you as well. I would like to hear your tone. I would like to hear if you're actually angry or if you think that this was the greatest trade deadline for the Phillies. Tell us about it. You can call in at 610-632-0975, or you can leave a voice memo, or you can send a text. What do we got?
Des from Oxford checks in. Says the Phillies needed every move they made at the deadline, but they needed so much more that no matter what they got done, it wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, unless they made a major splash. If the Padres did not get hot, I said to you a couple weeks ago, I would have gone all in for Mason Miller because he can pitch 2 innings. And if I have 1 through 9, and I'm not talking about the lineup, I'm talking about the innings of Wheeler, Sanchez, or Luzardo going 6, Miller being able to go 2, and Duran going 1, math. That's 9 innings of incredible pitching. And there's days off in the postseason. And guys go on back-to-back nights whenever there are back-to-back nights, unlike what they do in the regular season sometimes. But they didn't do that.
I'm still trying to add up to 9. Yeah. I think you got it.
Yeah, I got it. All right, what else we got?
Greg in Bethlehem checks in and says, I don't think the Phillies could have done much more at the trade deadline because they didn't have trade currency in the minor leagues. I'm disappointed in Trey Turner for his unwillingness to move.
They do have trade currency. Like that's we keep lying to ourselves saying that they have nobody. They don't have a lot. Problem is, like, if I'm a opposing team and the Phillies are calling because the Phillies are more desperate than the team that's unloading, right? Yesterday, who was the more desperate team, the Philadelphia Phillies or the San Francisco Giants?
The Philadelphia Phillies.
And that's why you had to give up one of your top prospects to get a rental. The Phillies have prospects. It's not a huge cupboard of it. It's bare. You have Gage Wood. You have this Renteria kid that people would have shed tears, even though he's 17 years old and nobody has ever seen him play baseball. You have a couple of other guys that are toward the top of your prospect list. But it would have cost you one of those guys for maybe another marginal move because you're the more desperate team.
Yeah, but they didn't touch a lot of the guys that we thought could get moved at the deadline.
Yeah.
Like anyone who thought they didn't have enough to potentially make impact moves. It's like if you have $1,000 and I have $100, but I'm willing to spend $100 on something and you're only willing to spend $80, I get it even if it's all my money.
Right.
It's just the willingness to spend, and people kept carping over where they're ranked in the Baseball America farm system ranking.
It's bad. They are ranked poorly for a reason, but that doesn't mean that they don't have any prospects that teams would be interested in. They made the decision to hold on to some of these guys. There was not a move that they thought would be maybe the push them over a hump to win a World Series. Let's give up some of these big prospects because we need to have some in the farm system because our cupboard is so bare. All right. Hit me up with another text, 610-632-0975. Again, it's sort of a reaction day, right? Like, my statement is that I'm confused. My statement is that somebody's lying to me. When it comes to not moving Trey Turner from shortstop, either the Phillies are lying because they're saying he's the best player for that position, and they're not admitting the truth that he stinks and it's for whatever mental reason, or Trey Turner, who will tell you maybe to a member of the media, I'm doing whatever it takes to win. That might be the lie, too. I don't know whose decision it was to stay at shortstop. What else we got?
Jay from Westchester brings up an interesting point. Says, am I wrong for thinking the Phillies need to plan on calling up Gage Wood and McFarland for a playoff run? Place them in the bullpen and take the risk. I feel like we are in a place of we have nothing to lose, so why not just go all in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say it. They acquired 2 guys in the bullpen, and they got deeper that way. I didn't understand the McFarland thing. They call him up for a game. He throws a 1, 2, 3 inning, right? He gives him a hit. And
maybe showcase him, and they tried to put him in a deal, and the deal just didn't happen.
Maybe.
I really think the Gage Wood thing is interesting, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, it would be different. We've seen it before. We saw the kid last year with the Blue Jays pitching the World Series. He made like 2 starts in the regular season. Like, you can do it. It's just whether or not the Phillies actually do it.
But them not adding to starting pitching at the deadline makes me believe that they have that on the radar.
They'll try the Painter thing first. And it either works or it blows up in their face, and then they have other options. All right, coming up next, it is today's headlines with Connor Thomas. We'll continue to get some more of your reaction. We'll update the Twitter poll on this Phillies World Series. I think I understand why we have the votes that we're getting right now, but I do still think we are completely counting them out when we shouldn't, but I totally understand why we are. We'll talk about that more coming up next. It is Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on The Fanatic.
This is 96.
It is 7:47 here on Mornings with Andrew Salciunas. I almost said the old name. It's gonna take some. It's gonna take some time.
You're good so far. You made it clean through.
Yeah, you're right. But it's 2.5 years of saying Kincaid and Salciunas. It's every once in a while it's about to slip through.
I can tell you're saying Mornings with Andrew Salciunas because it ends with Salciunas like the old show used to be called.
So basically,
you're catching yourself.
Kincaid has been replaced by Andrew, who is also me.
Yeah, way to make it not complicated.
All right. Before we get to today's headlines, I want to get some more reaction on the trade deadline. And it was awesome to see this man in Baltimore. Jeff from D.C., we were able to link up until a man was doing his job. All right, he was just doing his job. But there was a sellout crowd because it was the Hall of Fame night for Baltimore for the Orioles. They inducted Chris Davis, who, of course, we know for 5 years was one of the most feared hitters in baseball. And then for the next 5 years, he was the most laughable hitters in baseball. Such a strange career. But one of the ushers was like, "You guys can't stand here. This is a fire hazard." And I'm like, "What? Okay, sir. You're doing your job. I'm not gonna be a jerk about it." My man Jeff from DC was there. What's up, Jeff? Good morning.
I wanted to be a jerk about it, because you're just not used to having more than 14,000 people in here. That's the problem.
Right. And look, he was doing his job, so I understood, and I said thank you, sir. I appreciate it, but it was a large area.
It's not like we were standing in the middle of a narrow hallway or anything, but whatever.
We weren't standing in a row of seats. We were standing in a pretty big area, but, I don't know. Maybe it's the Philadelphia thing. Maybe they're like, "Oh, man, there's Philadelphia fans."
Yeah, that's what they probably figure. It was great to meet you, man. It was awesome. And the Phillies won the game, so that was even better.
Hey, 3 straight now, man. We're on fire. Winning streak.
We're on fire. I think it's like you said, dude, we're better than we were before. I don't know what people expected the Phillies to do. It's not like we have any prospects that anybody wants. What are you going to trade Aiden Miller and his broken back and Andrew Painter, who can't find the strike zone for 90% of the season? We don't have anything to trade. The fact that we got Luis Ariz is a miracle to me.
Yeah, it was a good move. I think the pain is you got the big move early, right? Nine. Oh, go ahead.
The bottom line to me is this: 2011, the 4 aces, unbeatable, right? We lost. The Dodgers are beatable. I don't care what anybody says. I know they're a great team. I'm not taking anything away from them. But in a short series, anybody is beatable, especially when we have 3 good pitchers just like they have 5 good pitchers. We can beat them. They can be beaten. Period.
I hear you, Jeff, and that's something that I keep on saying, and thanks for the call. But I also understand the frustration because I am just as frustrated as everybody else with everything else. They need a right-handed bat. They didn't get one. Their shortstop stinks. They keep him there at shortstop. There are issues with this baseball team. It's one of these things where if you're on the positive side, it's like the Jalen Hurts conversation. You're pro Jalen Hurts. You have every right to be pro Jalen Hurts. If you don't think Jalen Hurts is the best guy, I hear you. Right? You could make the case. I think it's the areas of where we go too far, right? Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFL. He's not. Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's not. Are the Phillies the number 1 threat to the Dodgers? I don't believe so. Are the Phillies no chance of being the Dodgers? I don't think so either. I think they do have a chance. It's going to take a lot. It's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with the Connor Thomas.
It's brought to us by Lundy Law, as always. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. Now, I don't think that Lundy Law covers people who feel that they've been injured by being traded. A lot of guys were moving in Major League Baseball yesterday. But Luke Gabrish, one of the Phillies prospects who was moved in the Brooks Raley deal, might want to give them a call. So he's now going to the New York Mets organization.
Okay.
This is not typical because guys get drafted from all over the place and find organizations around Major League Baseball. But he grew up a huge Phillies fan and was seated in the same section where Bryce Harper's Bedlam at the Bank home run ball landed. He even got a chance to take a picture with that home run ball as people were passing it around the stands after. And now he goes to the Mets. So I ask you, if you were ever in the position of Luke here, would you go to the Mets?
Yes.
Would you do your best?
Yes.
Would you, though?
Yes.
The hatred you have.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if I believe you.
Yes, I gotta earn money. A baseball career that doesn't go much further. Kind of like you and I, man. Like, there's not much money in the minor leagues. We know it. There's not a lot of money. You hear some of the horror stories about what minor leaguers go through. If he doesn't pitch well, he's finding a job just like everybody else is. So, yes, I would do my best, Connor, as a Major League Baseball player, even if it was for the New York Mets.
Got to feel for the kid, though. That's got to suck.
Yeah, I would hate it, but I would try to pitch and win.
I can't say that I would. It'd be hard for me to put, like, those colors on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, as soon as you hear your name and see your name in lights.
Now pitching for the Mets?
Yeah,
no, it made me feel dirty watching a guy with my name throw for the Braves.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that's not even me.
I
don't think I could do it, man. I really don't.
I would.
Now, there's things that you could do. There's things you shouldn't do. We talked about one of them yesterday. Jaylen Brown and the whole skydiving thing. And basically everybody's thought is stay on the ground. Now, the good news is the Sixers have a great chance to win their first championship in forever this year. The bad news is they might only win one because Jaylen Brown was live streaming on Twitch yesterday, and he talked about the celebration that they're planning on having if they win the finals.
I told the team, I told VJ, Max, LeBron, and Embiid, and you can ask them, we win the championship, everybody going skydiving. Brian texted me back and said, boy, hell no.
You know what this is? He was talked to by somebody. And so now he's, you know, the guy that gets in trouble and then tries making light of it and like trying to be funny about it. I've been there. I've done it. Everybody's done it. I'm not bothered by you guys being mad at me, so I'm going to make jokes about it. Somebody probably said something to Jaylen Brown.
I'd imagine so.
I mean, he went skydiving. Like, he went skydiving. As a guy that's getting paid millions of dollars. Like, he went skydiving. Somebody probably talked to him, whether it was an executive, a coach, or a teammate. And so now he's firing away like but if we win, you guys are all coming with me, right? No.
Hey, if they win, I'm okay with them skydiving. If they win the finals, go for it. I won't care about anything they do.
They can go to Sky Zone, one of those places.
Nah.
All right? Go to one of those places. What else? There's a couple of them. I remember Jason Avant's got one. There's a couple of those joints. Go to one of those. I don't need you actually going up in a plane.
It's been 43 years. You win the finals, you skydive. I'm totally fine. I'll go skydiving. If the Sixers win the finals, I will go.
I want to win too.
We'll round out with this because this is also the time of year. We've been doing this a lot in today's headlines. The random comments from NFL coaches about how they're talking to their team and evaluating them. The great thing about every team being in training camp is every day we get a brand new soundbite that you're like, what in the world did he just say? And today's version is Clint
Aaron
Kubiak
Rodgers? Oh, okay.
Of the Las Vegas Raiders, former Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator, his first year as head coach of the Raiders organization, and he likes his team. He just said it in a weird way.
I think we just have a professional group of players. You know, they care about getting better. You know, we don't have any turds. We got guys that want to be here, that want to win, that want to change this place. And so I'm really happy with that.
I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect that. I feel that way about here.
Don't have any turds.
I feel that way about here. I have hated work ethic of people around here, and I love work ethic of people around here. And I love when we have a full collective group of people that are trying to win.
Well, I just don't know because I know a Super Bowl head coach who is pro-turd.
We all fertilize.
So there's competing schools of thought here.
Nah,
are the turds good or the turds bad? I don't know.
Turds are bad. By the way, Bijan Robinson said Saquon Barkley step aside. We have a new highest paid running back in the National Football League. 3-year extension, $75 million, $25 per year. Highest paid running back, Bijan Robinson gets $51 million guaranteed. It's going to be awesome to watch them go 7-8 or whatever the records are these days. 8-9. Yeah, they'll go 8-9 again. And look, he's a great player. But it's going to be awesome watching them go 8-9 again. All right? It's going to be great to watch the Raiders stink with Ashton Genty. It's going to be great to watch the Cardinals stink with Jeremiah Love. I love it. Let's draft running backs really high when the rest of our team stinks, and then it's time to pay them, and our team's not good enough yet. You've heard me say it for years. To me, it's the dumbest thing to do in football. If you're a top 10 team, unless you're in one of those weird scenarios where you just fell in the top 10 because your quarterback got hurt or something, don't draft a running back because then it's time to pay them and your team still stinks. All right, coming up next, we get back to our Phillies discussion, our trade deadline reaction. The topic that we keep getting back to is whatever this weird catering to Trey Turner is. We discuss how long they're willing to deal with it next because there is a definite possibility that this might not work. It's Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A major move for the Phils. I'm Connor Thomas. The Phillies made 3 moves at the deadline yesterday, but the big one was the acquisition of Luisa Rise from the San Francisco Giants. They also got reliever Caleb Killian in that trade, and Brooks Raley comes down from the Mets for a couple of prospects. The biggest surprise was what the Rise move means for the infield. He's expected to play second base. Bryce Harper expected to move back to right field, which means Alec Boehm shifts over to first. Bryson Stott goes to third, and Trey Turner sits comfortable right there at shortstop. Now, they made moves there and added to the bullpen, but they didn't add to the starting pitching depth. Dave Dombrowski talked about that yesterday.
Well, a little. The choice came into you end up getting a guy that's a 5th starter that you don't think is as good as your guy that you have now, an option, the guy that you think has a better chance to win to help your depth, or do what we're doing. And we figured we'd do what we were doing.
We'll see how things look as the Phils start instituting these changes over the next couple of days. Last night, they had a big comeback win over the Washington Nationals thanks to a 7th-inning grand slam by Derek Hill. Game 2 versus the Nats is tonight at 6:40 from the bank. Jesus Lazaro faces Zach Littell. The Eagles are continuing training camp today. Their first preseason game is next Saturday, the 15th, and the Union will face Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup group play on Thursday night. Bob Nightingale of USA Today joins us at 9:30 to talk trade deadline. This update is brought to you by the New Jersey Department of Health. Public health works behind the scenes, building a healthier future for everyone. One mission working for you. Learn more at nj.gov/health. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Baby, when we first met, I never felt something
Rihanna.
so strong. You were like my love.
I just know her voice, and I am in love with her. You know, Rihanna, if you're listening, I am in love with you. So I just figured I'd throw that out there.
Aren't you married?
I don't know what this song is. I have no idea what this song is, but I know her voice. All right, it is Mornings with Andrew Salciunas throughout the course of the week. And who knows, for the time being, we will be playing Now that's what I call music CDs throughout the course of the show. And today's CD is Now That's What I Call 30, which is what year again?
2009.
2009. Do they drop multiple in 1 year?
It seems like they do.
Because yesterday was 2007 and it was 25.
The math would say then.
All right, so they drop probably 2 a year. They probably do it. That's what I call Christmas, and they count that as one of the numbers because I know they do that. That now that's what I call Christmas. So maybe that's what it is. But
what a racket! Just compiling other people's songs into a CD and then selling those.
Well, back in the day, yeah, you don't really need to buy those CDs anymore. All right, so Phillies trade deadline reaction. We'll continue to get your text messages. I would love to hear from you on the phone line or the voice memo. But, of course, you can always text the Davis Honda text line, 610-632-0975. But I'm somebody who does like to hear from you. I'm somebody that does like to hear your voices and would love to hear your calls. But later on this hour, 8:47 to be precise, I am going to give you our lifetime, Connor, you and I, 32 years young, the starting 9 role player cult hero guys. Some of them I did my own personal, and then there are some where I tailor to the Philadelphia fans because even though I may not have been about the hype, other people have. So I have starting pitcher, and I have catcher through right field. I don't have DH. All right? I have starting pitcher through right field. So that comes right at 8:47 in honor of Derek Hill hitting the home run last night.
There better be a guy who could have been the DH that is in the lineup.
Yes, I believe that you have that one.
All right.
This in honor of Derek Hill. Let's hear it one more time before we get back to being angry about the trade deadline because I do want to celebrate last night. Derek Hill has been, to Dave Dombrowski's credit, a nice pickup. They had to do it out of necessity because Adolis Garcia got hurt, which was a bad signing by the Philadelphia Phillies faithful of Dave Dombrowski. But he found a way to pivot, and he got Derek Hill, and Derek Hill played hero last night, down 3-0 in the 7th inning, bases loaded, and this happened courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Fly ball, left center field. That's well hit. Lyles going back toward the wall. Gone! Grand slam! Derek Hill has just given the Phils the lead. He is flying high around third.
It was a great moment yesterday, and he has compiled a bunch of great moments this year, and that shouldn't be lost with all of our frustration of the team. Now, real quick, because we're going to get into more of this conversation about Trey Turner, because that's what this keeps coming down to. This trade deadline discussion, the biggest. I get it. You're not wrong for saying it, Connor, that you're more worried about the starting pitching depth than Trey Turner at shortstop. But I can't get over the fact that somebody's lying to me. I don't like being lied to, and somebody is lying to me within the Phillies organization. So I'm trying to write out what the outfield alignment is, or what the fielding alignment's going to be. So we know that JT's the catcher. Bohm is going to move from third to first. Arise is now playing second. Stott is playing third. And Turner is staying at short. So Bryce Harper's in the lineup every day. You're not platooning right field. So Bryce Harper will be your right fielder. So what are you doing in center and left? Are you going double platoon?
I'm not. So in center field, I'm going Justin Crawford, Derek Hill platoon. In left field, I'm trying to play Brandon Marsh as much as possible, and then Brian De La Cruz just rotates in.
Brian De La Cruz has absolutely earned the right to continue to play baseball. He is not. He does not deserve to be sent to the bench right now.
Okay, well,
especially the way that he hits left-handed pitching and the way Brandon Marsh does not hit left-handed pitching, we might see a double-dip platoon. Marsh has been struggling, and I know he's your guy. I know you love the man.
He had 7 months of great baseball. It is bull that they're treating him the way they're treating him, calling him a platoon player. No. Bro, what? Bro.
7 months versus his entire career. He might be playing the way that he is who he is, and he'll still finish hitting around 280. But he can't hit left-handed pitching.
He had 7 months of exceptional overall baseball, and he has one bad month, and they're like platoon guy. He was an all-star starter in the National League with some good outfielders. That's disrespectful to him.
But if he can't hit left-handed pitching, what do we have to be respectful about?
Yeah, like you can rotate Brian De La Cruz in with him. I'm not saying just lock De La Cruz on the bench, but I wouldn't go full platoon with Marsh because I still think he's going to be good enough over the course of the season to be a really good everyday player.
I feel like you're making your decision based off of feelings of Brandon Marsh.
I feel like I'm making my decision based off 7 months of 280-plus batting average.
Okay, but against left-handed pitching, he's hitting
that's against everybody.
230? He's hitting 230 against left-handed pitching.
Okay, that's against everybody.
Brian De La Cruz is a career 271 hitter against left-handed pitching. Career. Let me see what he's doing. I mean, he's barely been up here. But so far this year, he's batting 500 against left-handed pitching.
Okay, so you're basing yours off of, 2 weeks, and I'm basing mine off of 7 months?
No. I'm basing my Brandon Marsh opinion on multiple years of data. He can't hit left-handed pitching. And so there is a chance. I get it. You can get all upset that you want. There's a chance that for the time being, it's going to be Marsh against righties, De La Cruz against lefties, and then you platoon center field, even though Crawford's been hitting both sides better.
Yeah.
I saw an article. I don't know who wrote it. Or maybe it was one of the beats. Somebody pointed out, like, what if Crawford climbs his way up in the lineup a little bit? I'm not ready to do that. I like the idea of batting him like ninth, and you're basically flipping the lineup. You know how people do the Kyle Schwarber only bats leadoff once a game? Like Crawford only bats ninth once a game. And I would rather Crawford get on base, and now I have Arise 1 or 2 spots behind him. And if Crawford's stealing second base, which he very well might be most times, you have a runner on second base with one of the best pure contact hitters in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, you say that if they let him run, which I need to do more of.
Yeah, they do.
But no, I know what you're saying. I just don't think that he's ready for a bump up. Like I would rather keep him very stable with where he's at in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him batting ninth. Like I'm totally fine with it. But they could get creative with this lineup. They really could. We'll try to do that later on the show. We'll do the platoon lineup, and we'll do the Brandon Marsh plays every day in left field to a PZU lineup.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So this Trey Turner thing, let's play the Dombrowski audio again. So Dave Dombrowski was asked about Trey Turner at shortstop. And I'm going to play the audio, and then I'm going to read you an article that I read this morning, and it's just, what am I missing? What is everybody missing? This was Dave Dombrowski yesterday about whether or not they considered moving Trey Turner from shortstop.
Was there any thought as you're rearranging the infield kind of shifting him to second or the outfield?
It was not at this point, no. And, he has not had a good defensive year compared to last year. He's been a little better here recently. He went through that struggling time, but no, there was not that consideration.
He's not having as good of a year as he did last year. Dave, stop talking down to me. Because what happened 2 years ago? What happened 3 years ago? He's led the league in errors once now with the Phillies, could potentially be twice this year. Don't give me last year. Don Mattingly was also asked. This was Don Mattingly's answer.
0. Do you know if he's open to it at all? If you were,
we didn't talk about it. We didn't discuss moving him, so there's no reason to talk to him.
So somebody's lying. It's either they really think he's the best option, and now I'm scared, or Trey Turner doesn't want to be moved. And if Trey Turner doesn't want to be moved, then shame on you because you're impacting this team in a negative way. So I read an article on Fox Sports this morning, and they did their grades of some of the bigger trades that took place yesterday, and they gave the Phillies a B+ and the Giants an A-. Basically, the Giants got a top prospect from an organization for a rental. That's why the Giants got an A-, and the Phillies get a B+ because they got what they desperately needed in the lineup, somebody to get on base. And they put in some of the statistics about how bad the Phillies have been hitting-wise. What the hell is WRC+? This is what I'm talking about. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
All right, well, they ranked
win rate something.
They ranked 26th in the majors with that stupid nobody knows stat. But Arise steps in right away, and he impacts the lineup in a positive way. So then they go on the right. How will the rest of the roster accommodate Arise on the diamond? And they went through all the options. They can move Bryce Harper from first base back to right field, shift Bryson Stott from second base to third, and toss Alec Boehm across the diamond from third base to first. Before I continue on, that's what they're doing tonight if Arise is in the lineup. Another scenario is Harper could stay at first while Stott moves to the outfield to make room for Arise at second. Why is it the third option that the article gets to move Trey Turner's ass off of shortstop? What am I missing? Why does the organization say they're not going to do it? Why does Trey Turner feel like he has the balls to say that he doesn't want to move? Why does this article in Fox Sports tell me that that's the third option? Is it like, I get it, it's because of the contract. Well, then that's silly, because now you're just impacting your team for whether it's pride of the contract that you gave the guy or you're worried about breaking the person's mentality. And I will once again reiterate, there is no way that when 100-mile-per-hour fastballs are whizzing by you and sliders blown away in the dirt and curveballs and all these different pitchers, sweepers, Trey Turner's thinking about, oh, my God, I'm playing third base today. Oh, my God, I'm playing left field today. There's no way.
No, it's not that. What it would be is the preparation. Right? You're in a routine. Your routine feels comfortable to you. And if you have to learn a different position, do you feel like it's taking away from what you normally do? He's a guy that takes a lot of swings. We heard him when he was struggling offensively earlier. He's like, I went down to taking like 7 swings because I was doing 250 a day. If you're working on different stuff in the outfield, getting more comfortable out there, it takes away from your focus on what you think is helping you hit. It's not while you're at the plate. It's everything leading up to being at the plate.
I think we're overthinking this.
No, we're not overthinking anything. The reason it's happening is he doesn't want to move.
Okay.
That's it.
And then shame on Trey Turner, and I want him off the baseball.
Exactly. That's a full conversation.
I'll be petty. If you're gonna be petty, then I'll be petty right back.
Okay. Well, guess what, petty? You can't move him off the baseball team.
Well, then I'm gonna be angry at him, and I will dislike him. Maybe I'll take my ire off of Alec Boehm and put it to Trey Turner. Alec Boehm did what he thinks is best for the team by going to first base. Now, if only he could lift a baseball.
All right.
I mean, I just like my question is, and you know, I'm not a member of the media. I'm not a journalist, right? I would like one of the reporters or one of the beats to follow up with somebody, whether it's Don Mattingly or Dave Dombrowski, and ask them the question of, well, what if he continues to struggle? Because it's well and good that Dave Dombrowski can say, hey, he's been playing better as of late. He said that about Max Kepler last year, right? Max Kepler's been swinging the bat better recently. That's why Justin Crawford's not being called up to the big leagues. Turns out Max Kepler was juicing and putting needles in his butt. But other than that, you know, that was a stupid answer. You can't tell me that because Trey Turner's been playing better as of late, we're not going to move him. When all season long and 3 of the 4 years with him being a shortstop of the Philadelphia Phillies, he's been a bad shortstop. You can't tell me that. So if a week or two goes by and he continues to make errors, or Bryson Stott, I doubt that he will, but Bryson Stott struggles at third base, or Alec Boehm struggles at first base. Because remember, I will repeat what I said back in the 6 o'clock hour. You're not just moving potential Gold Glove second baseman Bryson Stott to a different position. You're moving potential Gold Glove first baseman Bryce Harper completely out of the infield, back to his old position. So you are moving 2 potential Gold Glovers, right? You agree with me?
Yeah, dude. I was thinking about this when Bryce was making a couple nice plays last night.
You're moving 2 potential Gold Glovers and keeping one of the worst players at his position all across Major League Baseball at shortstop. So you cannot tell me that this is a baseball decision. It's got to be something else, and somebody needs to get to the bottom of it. So that's why I would ask, hey, if this continues to go poorly, like if that good stretch that he's been on is just a blip on the radar, then what? Are you making another change?
So
are you going to move Trey Turner to the outfield in September?
Here's what they'll say. Yeah, we're going to consider anything we can to help the baseball team.
They just told you they had no consideration.
I know, but if you ask them about the future, they're going to say that. They're going to walk by the closed door. They're going to snicker, and they're going to say they just won't take no for an answer.
That's horrible.
That's what they've been doing for years, dude.
And
why does it surprise you?
And that's why I hate them. It's why I keep on having a love-hate relationship with the Philadelphia Phillies. What do we got on the text line? Davis on the text line. Feel the Davis difference. Check him out in Burlington.
All right, we have people on the trade deadline, of course, all day today. It's been busy. And this texter checks in, wants to talk about what we've got going on with Dombrowski. He says, it's time for Dumbo to go. Arias is a great pickup, and the bullpen depth will help, but the lack of ability to trade for a starter and having to rely on Nola's meatballs and Painter's the number 5 guy right now is mind-boggling. Even if they make the playoffs, you can only save face with the same press conference responses until you can't.
It's really amazing, the Nola thing, right? Because you look at Nola's line yesterday, it was a good line. Six innings, 3 earned runs, right? But when you find out it's the first 2 innings, he gave up 3 runs. Come playoff time, if they're doing a piggyback, he's not going more than 2 times through the order. You can't go down 3-0 in the playoffs.
It's not even the piggyback. Like, you can't go down 3-0 with this team because they get tight. You can go down 3-0 to the Nationals in August.
Right.
And
you're Derek Hill plays hero.
Exactly. You go down 3-0 to the Dodgers, and that stadium gets quiet, and rightfully so, because we've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
They're dead. That's why Nola's a problem.
Yeah, it is. And I understand that you wanted pitching depth. I understand. And you know, we all thought Robbie Ray was going to be the guy, and they didn't do it. And the problem is he went to another contender. He goes to the San Diego Padres. And you look at some of the teams around Major League Baseball, especially in the National League that made moves, you're going, yeah, we got better. The Philadelphia Phillies got better. So did some other teams. All right, what else we got on the text line?
All right, this texter checks in. Nate says, is anyone feeling like Harper is saying doing this for the team to win and Stott saying Harper's doing anything for this team to win is a jab at Turner? They seem angry that he did not want to switch to the outfield.
Well, I don't know if what they said has not been enough for me to go, they're talking about Trey Turner. Because, again, we don't know. I try to be as fair as possible doing this job. And sometimes I think that impacts me negatively because there are people that just throw out takes willy-nilly, right? I'm just going to say it. I try to be as fair as possible. The Phillies organization may actually think this is what is best for the team. And if they think that's what's best for the team, then I think the Phillies are in the wrong. I think the Phillies are dumb for saying that. And so you can't blame Trey Turner. Trey Turner may have said, I'll do whatever it takes, guys. And they might say, yeah, but we think it's best for you to stay at shortstop. Then that's not Trey Turner's fault. If Trey Turner did say, no, I'm a shortstop, I'm not going anywhere, then I would believe that Bryson Stott and Bryce Harper are saying something about Trey Turner at the same time.
I think what you're doing is fair. I think this is like one of those legal trials, though, where it's just like everybody sitting in the courtroom knows that person did it, but you're not getting the evidence that's like legally required.
Right, but somebody's in the wrong. Somebody is. Either Trey Turner is saying, I don't want to be moved, and I'm going to stamp my foot on the ground and cry about it if you move me, and I'm going to whine so much that you're going to cave and keep me at shortstop, and then I'll be mad at Trey Turner about that. Or the Phillies really think this is what's best for the team. And if that's the case, that's concerning that the leadership of this team thinks that Trey Turner is the best shortstop on this roster when he's not. He's not the best shortstop on this roster.
I need you to say it for me. What is more likely, that Don Mattingly and Dave Dombrowski just cannot see that the worst shortstop in baseball defensively is the worst shortstop in baseball defensively, or a star player making $300 million has enough sway to say where he plays?
It's the star player. That's more likely. And if that and if it is true, then shame on you, Trey Turner, because you are impacting this team because of your own ego.
Right. We don't need to talk in absolutes, but we need to acknowledge that that's the 90+% chance of what's going on here.
Yeah, it's definitely more likely because there's no way Donnie Baseball, who we all love, Donnie Baseball looks at Trey Turner and goes, yeah, that's the guy for the job.
He was a Gold Glove fielder at this level. He knows how to field a baseball, and he sees Trey Turner try and do it.
Yeah. Oh. Remember all the infield drills they were supposed to be doing? Yeah. He's doing nothing different.
Hey, they've won 3 straight.
Yeah. Woo. Finally.
Go team.
All right, coming up next. One thing I always ask executives to do is stop talking to us like we're idiots. And Dave Dombrowski continues to do that. He's a repeat offender. And we'll talk about some of those offensives that Dave Dombrowski has done. And we'll continue to get more of your reaction at 610-632-0975. It is Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Before the football season even kicks off, I know what you're all doing. Everyone's making predictions. Who's going to win the division? Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? Well, on Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. So, will the Eagles qualify for the playoffs this season? Right now, Philly is trading at a 59% chance to make the postseason, meaning a $100 trade is going to pay you out $159 if they clinch a playoff spot. Great opportunity for you to put your money where your mouth is. And hey, got a pretty darn solid schedule this year. Like what the offense is sounding like coming out of training camp. The best part is, on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. As the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So let's say the Eagles start struggling. Well, you could trade out in the middle of the season. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code Fanatic to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. Kalshi. Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A lot of changes for the Phils. I'm Connor Thomas. The Phillies made 3 moves at the deadline yesterday at the Major League level, acquiring Luis Arraez and reliever Caleb Killian from San Francisco, as well as lefty Brooks Raley from the Mets. And the biggest surprise was what the Arraez move means for the infield, as he's expected to play second base. Manager Don Mattingly talked about how that's going to affect the setup yesterday.
The key for me is heart. Moving to the outfield is really the key to this. It kind of solidifies the outfield from what we can do. And the first thought is Bohm's going to play first, move stop to third, and everything else stays the same.
So we'll see how things look as the Phillies try this new-look defense with Arraez as part of the team. Last night looked pretty darn good. They had a big comeback win over Washington thanks to a 7th-inning grand slam by Derek Hill. Game 2 versus the Nats is tonight at 6:40. Jesus Luzardo versus Zach Littell. The Eagles are continuing training camp today. Their first preseason game is next Saturday, the 15th. The Union will face Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup group play Thursday night. Bob Nightingale of USA Today joins us at 9:30 for the National Voice reaction on yesterday's trade deadline. This update is brought to you by the New Jersey Department of Health. Public health works behind the scenes building a healthier future for everyone. One mission working for you. Learn more at nj.gov/health. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
You tell it like it is, and so do we. Middays.
This is 2009.
Yeah, I believe so.
Wake up every evening. I know the song. I don't know who sings it. With a big smile on my face. Let me guess. It's one of the Plain White Tees.
It is not.
Who are the other whiny white boy bands? I don't know. Who is it?
This is the All-American Rejects.
All-American Rejects. See my face. Hope it gives you hell. Hope it gives you hell. Now that's what I call 30. CD bump back music today. Yesterday's Now That's What I Call 25. I love it, man. I mean, these are the songs. This is great music at the time.
We're starting in the wheelhouse. We're going to go back. So if you were like a Now That's What I Call Music, like 5 person.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
You're going to get your day.
Fly me to the moon.
I don't think
I don't know. When did they start?
I don't think Frank was on there.
Okay. I don't know when the Now That's What I Call Music CD started. All right. So Dave Dombrowski continues to talk down to everybody. And it's something that I can't stand. I'm not saying I could do your job, but if I was given like endless money, I think I could sign some big name players. You know, it depends on how I handle myself in the meeting room with agents and all that kind of stuff. But like Dave Dombrowski acts like he's a scientist sometimes. The way he talks down to us and the way he spoke to the media. And Dave Dombrowski knows, he's been around baseball for a long time now. He knows that the media is the middleman that gets out to the fans. When Dave Dombrowski had his press conference and did the whole good club thing, which has now become a running bit, right? Got a good club. When Dave Dombrowski did all that, he was offending me and should have offended every Phillies fan. Now, there were some Phillies fans that gobbled it up last year after they lost to the Dodgers. Gobbled it up. Because whatever the Phillies do, we celebrate. Because the Phillies somehow are handled with kids' gloves more than any other team in this city. Dave Dombrowski offended me in November, and he's offended me numerous times since then, and he offended me before that. I still can't get over Tim Kelly asking him what I thought was a very fair question. Maybe the wording could have been differently about whether or not, like, hey, do you have a message for the city to say that you're still the guy for the job or whatever? You can answer that one. Like, yo, dude, what do you mean you can answer that as to why you should still be the executive of this baseball team? I don't celebrate 90 wins. Not anymore. You could call me spoiled all you want. I'm not going to talk to my son 10 years from now and say, man, you really missed the heyday of the 90-win club. No. I remember when the Phillies were in the World Series and unfortunately lost, but at the time, that entire run, I felt sorry for my child that he was not old enough to understand what was he wasn't even a year old. You know, like I felt bad for him. Like, man, I can't reminisce with him about these. I can tell him about it. I can't reminisce with him. This isn't a reminiscing time. If they don't win a World Series, we got a good club. 90 wins is not something that I'm going to go back and think fondly of. And yet Dave Dombrowski says, well, we're in it every single year. That should be enough for you. Well, it's not. And yesterday, when once again there was no consideration of moving Trey Turner off of shortstop, you're offending me by having that rhetoric, because I'm either offended that I'm the guy that's sitting here saying I could do that job, or I'm offended because you're lying to me and you're giving us all these reasons other than the fact that maybe Trey Turner's just whining and doesn't want to be moved off of the position. Either way, I'm being lied to, and I don't like that, and I hate when executives talk down to people, and that's what Dave Dombrowski does. That's what Daryl Morey did a lot. I'm not even saying this because they're in our good graces right now. Have you gotten a sense that Mike Gansey feels smarter than you? I know he knows that he's smarter than us, but is he saying it in the media in any sort of way? No.
No.
Mike Gansey seems like a dude that I like to have a beer with.
He's talked, what, once, twice?
Yeah. But he seems like a normal dude. Howie does, but Howie's got swagger. Like when Howie walks off the field that one game, I forget where it was. Was it Houston?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, you're not booing me now, huh? He's got swagger, right? But he's also won here. Dave Dombrowski can do this all he wants, point at his rings on his hands. It hasn't been done here. And so, for all I care, you've done nothing in Philadelphia.
But imagine how he sees it, because you have the window of your fandom. You have your 30. Were you 32 now?
Yes, I'm an
You're
old
man. You have your 32 years of Philadelphia Phillies fandom. What Dave Dombrowski has is coming into a 10-year postseason drought, and then 4 straight years making the postseason. 2 of those winning the division. He had like decade-long streaks that he has ended with the team that he's built. I imagine he looks at that as successful. Now, if you're a Phillies fan that saw 08 to 11. You don't, but he's got his perspective. So I get part of why he feels that way, but I also know that this fan base, that's not good enough.
There's no way Dave Dombrowski views this as successful. If he leaves Philadelphia and his tenure never resulted in a championship, he will say to the members of the media or on his way out or whatever, saying, look, we were there and I did whatever it took to try to get us over the hump, and we just couldn't do it. And he'll bring up the Dodgers and he'll talk about all that kind of stuff. But deep down, I know that this guy has gone and won everywhere, and it will impact his ego. Look, we got LeBron James here now, right? If the Sixers don't win a championship with LeBron James here, I bet you there's a part of him that's going to say, damn, it's the one place I couldn't go and win. He'll talk about the fact that they were better, because they will. I think the Sixers are in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. He'll talk about that. Man, we were able to get to somewhere where that organization, that franchise, that city hasn't experienced in over 25 years. And so I consider that a success. But you know that when he's sipping wine or tequila, one or the other, because those are his 2 drinks of choice, after he retires, if he doesn't win a championship, he'll feel about that. Dave Dombrowski, wherever he goes after here, if he doesn't win a World Series, will deep down realize that he did not do enough for them to win. And the way he goes about it drives me nuts. The way he goes about talking down to people, it drives me crazy. Real quick, I did not see this story till just now. Ken Rosenthal, this came out at 10:30 last night. You know the Braves could have gotten a lot better yesterday?
I didn't see this.
So you said earlier today, earlier the show, we did the sort of breakdown of what other teams did around Major League Baseball alongside with what the Phillies have been doing, or what the Phillies did. Teams that are fighting for a wild card spot, teams that are fighting for a division win. Jacob deGrom waived a no-trade clause. The Atlanta Braves apparently offered a pretty big package to try to get Jacob deGrom from the Texas Rangers. DeGrom's not pitching like DeGrom right now. He's 7-7 with a 3.96 ERA, but he still has his electric stuff. And by the way, 3.96 isn't terrible. It's just not what Jacob deGrom once was. But Jacob deGrom said, nah, I'm good here in Texas.
Good man.
Well, I mean, I respect it, because it didn't help the Braves out in that remark, but he wanted to stay in Texas. They're still in the running. They're 2.5 games out of first place in their division, but it's amazing to me, man. There are guys that Byron Buxton's, I don't know if I put DeGrom in that category of not wanting to win, but like Mike Trout, the Los Angeles Angels are 14 games under 500 right now, and Mike Trout is totally okay with that. Or sorry, they're 14 games out of first place. They are 26 games under 500, and he is totally fine with it. That guy, and I know he's a local guy, and there's probably a family member for all I know that's listening. That guy will forever be thought of as the guy that was content. Hell of a player. Injuries, obviously a big problem, and it's a shame because I root for the guy. I love baseball, right? And I like watching the best players play baseball. And I loved watching modern-day Mickey Mantle. It didn't matter that he was from here. I didn't care. I love watching good baseball. I love watching good sports, regardless of where people are from. But, man, that guy's totally fine with losing.
He'll frame it as loyal. Maybe he truly does believe that. But that's not how people are going to look at it.
No,
you're
dude,
right.
you're happy with you're not happy with losing. You're fine with losing. I don't want to say he's happy with losing, but he's totally fine losing. He's totally fine going 3 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBI and a stolen base and a highlight reel play in the outfield, a couple of years ago, and the Angels losing 7-2 or 7-3, whatever. Like, he's totally fine with it, and that's a shame, man, because that's bad for baseball. All right, what do we have on the Davis Honda text line? You can feel the Davis difference. Check him out in Burlington.
All right, this texter checks in, says, do you agree with Dombrowski saying there were no significantly better starting pitchers available for trade than the pitchers we already have? That's from Kenneth in Harrisburg.
What was the question one more time?
Do you agree with Dombrowski saying there were no significantly better starting pitchers available for trade than the pitchers we already have?
Well, no, because like Robbie Ray is a better option, but if they didn't want to give up what San Diego gave up, that's a whole other question. Like, sure, there were better options. Glanzman is a better option. There were better options. There's better options than what the Phillies have right now on their starting 9. But it comes down to what you're willing to give up. So I don't think Dombrowski believes what they have is what's best. But Dombrowski has to make the decision, is it worth trading another top prospect for one of these guys that might not actually tip us over any sort of way? All right, let's go to Tasty Cake Dom. What's up, Tasty Cake?
Andrew, how you doing? Hey, Connor, what's up?
What's up, Dom?
Well, I like that we have a couple of. If what they're saying is true, and you're finally going to put Schwarber batting fourth, I like that. I like that part of the lineup a lot. I see base runners all over the place, and I like that part of it.
That's what I would do, but I'm really interested to see what the lineup looks like, because Arise can bat cleanup. It's something that he has done before in his career, even though it's not the typical cleanup hitter. Neither has Alec Bohm been. I'll be interested to see what they do, because it's going to look weird, Dom. There is a chance that you will have 3 straight lefties in the lineup, and people will be annoyed by that. But Luis Arise is not he hits 300 against both lefties and righties. So regardless, the lineup will look strange.
My counter to that always is when they say that is Ruth and Gehrig did pretty good together, right, Connor? They did okay.
Yeah, they did all right.
Connor Watt.
They did okay. So my second point, Andrew, real quick, is I've heard you say, and I listen to you every day, you know that. I heard you say 1,000,000 times that you can't keep the Phillies out with those 3 starters, right?
Yep.
That's your whole card.
Yeah.
You said that 1,000,000 times,
yeah,
right?
I'll continue to
I
say
don't
it.
see the sense. I don't see the sense. If that's your whole card, how does it make sense to shuffle the deck and make them worse defensively behind those pitchers?
Dom, that's a great point. It's a great point, because I feel confident in those 3 pitchers, not because they strike out 15 guys. I feel confident in those 3 pitchers because they do get strikeouts. They also keep the ball in the yard, and they keep the ball on the ground. And you're right. I mean, if that's the case, then why would you put honestly, out of the entire team, and thanks for the call, Dami, I appreciate it. Out of the entire team, who is the worst player at their position?
That'd be Trey Turner.
Right? Like, it's not Alec Bohm at third base. It's not Bryce Harper at first or in right field. It's not JT Realmuto behind the dish. It's not anybody in left, in center, or at second. The worst guy at the position that they play is Trey Turner at shortstop, and he's staying there. And nobody can tell me from a baseball reason as to why. And that's what's pissing me off this morning. I'm happy for the trade. They are better today. But what pisses me off is from a baseball standpoint, because I look at it from a baseball thing. I don't like to look at drama first. I don't like to immediately say it's because he doesn't want to be moved. It's because that guy is pandering. I don't like to look. That's secondary to me. When it comes to sports talk radio, I'm the weird guy that looks at the sports before at everybody else, everything else. The drama, the nonsense. I look at the sports first. And so when Don Mattingly says 0 consideration, when Dave Dombrowski says 0 consideration, it pisses me off, because you can't tell me from a baseball standpoint that the right move is to keep Trey Turner at shortstop. And that's what makes me angry, because now all the other factors come into play, and that's where our brains start going. Why is it that this guy doesn't want to move? Is Bryson Stott taking a shot at Trey Turner by saying, why wouldn't I move if the 2-time MVP is moving? And that's what happens because of silly, stupid decisions like this. All right, come up next. A little bit more lighthearted. Derek Hill played hero last night, and he solidified himself in the all-time cult hero starting 9. I have one in front of me from my lifetime of 32 years and your lifetime of 31, Connor. There will be more from like 50 years ago that I can't speak on. I will give them to you coming up next. You tell me if I'm right or wrong in certain areas. Some of them are on my personal list, and some of them are what the city thought, because there's one guy on here that I hated, but everybody else liked for whatever reason. It's Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on The Fanatic.
This is 97.5 The
it feels like to find the one in this life, the one we all dream of, but dreams just aren't enough, so I'll be waiting for the rain.
Who am I listening to?
Oh, you can't tell this by the voice?
I mean, is it Creed or one of those?
You're close. It's the other one.
Nickelback.
That's right.
Yeah. I never heard this one though. This
is one of their not as
it's one
well
of their deep
known.
cuts. It's not with arms wide open.
It was popular. It's like a top 10-ish song in 2009.
Popular for who?
People who like
the
Nickelback.
Masked Singer
I
is
guess.
popular, apparently.
What's
the other popular show? This stupid the geniuses, Big Bang Theory, but that one, Young Sheldon. Like, there's no way people like that show, but apparently it was
Contrary to popular belief, Philadelphia is not the entire country.
Yeah, but you know what? We should be the capital.
There's a lot of people in the Midwest that all they have to do is avoid Tony Romo on the road and watch The Masked Singer.
That's good call. All right, let's hear how it sounded again from last night, because Derek Hill yesterday, he kind of solidified himself when I stopped calling him Derek Hall, because Derek Hall was a former, everybody thinks he's going to be a good guy, because he mashed really bad pitching for like 1 week, and then he got figured out, and I don't think he's been in the big league since. But Derek Hill, climbed up the ranks when we were able to call him by name. This was how it sounded last night on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Phillies down 3-0, bases loaded in the bottom of the seventh inning, and Derek Hill stepped up to the plate.
Fly ball, left center field. That's well hit. Lyles going back toward the wall. Gone! Grand slam! Derek Hill has just given the Phils the lead. He is flying high around third.
All right, so Derek Hill last night put himself in the all-time starting 9 of role player, cult hero, platoon players, because he's not an everyday player. So I already see a couple people trying to guess on YouTube, and one of them was from Neil, Gene Segura. Gene Segura was an everyday player and was a starter for the World Series team. Like, Gene Segura is more than a role player. Like, he was a legitimate starter for the Philadelphia Phillies for multiple years. So I have my list, because you asked me during the break, like, would Placido Polanco count? Like, no, that guy was an everyday player. He was an all-star. He made the all-star team with the Phillies 1 year. So no, absolutely not Placido Polanco. So I have no batting order. I just go starting pitcher and then around the diamond. So the starting pitcher is not a guy that I was in on as much as everybody else was, so that's why he made the list, because some of these are my own personal feelings, and some of them are, all right, this is what the city would feel. Vance Worley was the starting pitcher. I mean, the Vanimal was by far the cult hero starting pitcher. One good season in his entire major leagues. Actually, 2 good seasons. 2014 with the Pirates, he was pretty good. But one really good season with the Phillies was 2011, part of the 4 aces, and then it was kind of him and Joe Blanton on the back end of that starting rotation. He had the great season, 11-3, 3.01 ERA. He was awesome. So the Vanimal is the starting pitcher of the cult hero classics of my lifetime, 32 years. At catcher, it's Chris Coast, the Coast Guard. I mean, Carlos Ruiz was a really, really good catcher in Major League Baseball. Great defensive catcher, and then there were some seasons where he could hit, especially when he was on Adderall. Like, he was a really good player. There were people that thought Chris Coast should have started over him. Not the case. But Chris Coast, special place in my heart, 33-year-old rookie, right? I had the book, all that kind of stuff. Chris Coast is the catcher. I had to find a place on the diamond to put this guy. He did play some first. He did play some third base, but he was mainly known as a pinch hitter, and I can't just have pinch hitter as one of the positions. Greg Dobbs. Greg Dobbs is a guy that people thought should have played every day, because whenever he pinch hit, he came through, and then he'd start, and then you go, oh, yeah, he's really good at that one thing. But he was a cult hero, Greg Dobbs, first baseman. Second baseman, more personal, because I loved him with the Chicago White Sox. Tadahito Iguchi. He stepped up when Chase Utley had the broken hand, and Tadahito Iguchi was your everyday second baseman until Chase Utley came back, and then he was a role player for that 2007 team.
Huh. I would have thought maybe Edmundo Sosa was going to get a nod.
Wow, I don't have Sosa on here.
I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah, but I did say that one was mine. Tadahito.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, it's your list. You're entitled to your list.
All right, well, I mean, we can move things around, because you're right. Edmundo should probably go over this guy. I have Roto Ronald Torreyes at third base. Not only was he a cult hero for Philadelphia, he was a cult hero for Joe Girardi. Joe Girardi loved himself some Ronald Torreyes. He loved Ronald Torreyes. And that guy would have clutch hits. He wasn't that good. But my man had clutch hit after clutch hit after clutch hit, and that's what you need. And that's why at shortstop, I have Tomas Perez. Tomas Perez was my cult hero shortstop on this team. And then your outfield. I hated this guy. I don't know why this city loved him. No idea whatsoever. Part of me thinks racially we got these two guys confused. Tadahito Iguchi and Sota Gucci. Sota Gucci was not a good baseball player. But people loved him in the city. And I don't know why. I wonder if they got him confused with the guy that actually was pretty good in his role. But Sota Gucci I put in left field in honor of Philadelphia, thinking that he was a good baseball player. Center field, Derek Hill. He earned that spot last night with the grand slam. And in right field, because you got to find a position for him, I put Matt Stairs. And he played, right field was the position he played most with the Phillies. He played 40-some-odd games with the Phillies in right field versus everywhere else. So Matt Stairs in right field. So the only, I guess, guy I forgot was Edmundo Sosa.
No. You missed a first ballot Hall of Fame role player below.
Really? Because I also have Ricky Leday coming off the bench. Because I went to the bench. Who do I have missing?
Bamboo Brad Miller not being on that list is insane.
You're right. Dude, you're right. That's on me. I might have to.
Brad's gotta have a spot.
I might have to readjust. Where did he play most of the time? Because he was all over the place.
I'll say like corner outfield, right? Probably.
Yeah, Brad Miller. If you remember 2021, when Bryce Harper won MVP, but they didn't make the playoffs. Brad Miller had the second most home runs on the team that year. Which is
guy was a tank.
He had 3 home runs in Wrigley. You're
locker
right,
room guy.
You're right. That's bad work, but he had locker room guy. And look, some of these I didn't really get into the Brad Miller hype, so like maybe that's why. I thought of some other guys coming off the bench. Pinch runner Travis Jankowski. People loved that guy because he had long hair. Oh, I was working with Mikey at the time, and somebody called in saying he's the next Jason Worth. And I was like, because of the hair?
No, that's Brandon Marsh. Have some respect.
No. They said about Jankowski first. Travis Jankowski walked so that Brandon Marsh could run. So that's my starting 9. I guess I should have to really reconsider Brad Miller and Edmundo Sosa.
There's another guy that you're not going to want on there, and people aren't right now, but I think the Garrett Stubbs argument is an interesting one.
No, because he's like also not good at baseball.
But there are some people in this fan base that love them.
Some of these guys actually have had moments. Garrett Stubbs
had the hangover home run. That was one of the biggest moments. What was that, 2 years ago?
That doesn't count. The one Garrett Stubbs moment that I'll never forget is the winning streak when they first fired Girardi. Remember they won all 3 games against the Angels? He hit a walk-off home run against the Marlins during that winning streak, that 10-game winning streak, and it's completely forgotten. But that's the one Garrett Stubbs moment that I'll always have in the back of my mind. That and saying that we were going to jump in the pool against the Diamondbacks, and then they lost that series. All right, coming up next, we'll start the 9 o'clock hour with more Phillies talk. We talked a lot about the trade deadline. Different segments. We've had different clips. We have different topics, different outlooks. So in the next segment, we're going to run through it all. Everything that we have talked about so far this morning, reacting to the Phillies trade deadline and what other teams did around, we're going to break it all down in a 20-minute segment. We'll get some of your reaction as well at 610-632-0975. So a full breakdown of what took place yesterday, what didn't take place yesterday, and what other teams did yesterday with some audio bits from Dave Dombrowski and Don Mattingly talking down to you. It is Mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Phils get some help. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies made 3 moves at the deadline yesterday, acquiring Luis Arraez and reliever Caleb Killian from San Francisco, as well as lefty Brooks Raley from the Mets. And the biggest surprise was what the Arraez move means for the infield, as he is expected to play second base. The guy who said we need some help, Bryce Harper, is moving out to the outfield playing right. Alec Bohm shifting from third to first. Bryson Stott going from second to third, and Trey Turner hanging out at shortstop. Now, something that the Phillies did not get help with is starting pitching. Dave Dombrowski talked about not making a move there after the deadline.
Well, a little. The choice came in. Did you end up getting a guy that's a 5th starter that you don't think is as good as your guy that you have now, an option, the guy that you think has a better chance to win to help your depth, or do what we're doing? And we figured we'd do what we were doing.
We'll see how things look as the team starts instituting these changes over the next couple of days. Last night, they had a huge comeback win over Washington thanks to a 7th-inning grand slam by Derek Hill. Game 2 against the Nats. It's tonight at 6:40. Jesus Luzardo faces Zach Littell. And the Eagles are continuing training camp today. Their first preseason game is next Saturday, the 15th. The Union will face Cruz Azul in League's Cup group play on Thursday night. Bob Nightingale of USA Today joins us at 9:30 for the national perspective on the Phillies' moves at the deadline. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
It's 9 o'clock here on Mornings with Andrew Salciunas. Now that's what I call 30. Music returns.
Well, you done me in the bed, I felt it.
No idea who it is, though.
Beat you, but you so hot that I melted. I fell right
Through the cracks. Yeah. Yeah, what's up, girl? You want to dance at homecoming? Who sang this one?
This is Jason Mraz.
Jason Mraz? Mraz?
Yes.
Is that the MRAZ
Mraz,
guy?
yeah,
All right.
MRAZ.
All right, I thought it was Mraz, not Mraz.
That's what I was trying to say. It's kind of a hard name to say.
But I know the song. I know some of the words. All right.
How do you not know? The only one you've known so far is Rihanna.
Yeah, and you know why.
All right.
A poster for crying out loud. Big fan of her work. All right. By the way, more returns on the all-time starting 9 role players in the last 30 years for the Philadelphia Phillies. A couple people chiming in with Sal Fasano. Sal played 50 games, right? He played 50 games here, and I hated him. And by the way, he's with like the Braves coaching staff now. It's like gross. I was not a Sal's pal guy. Chris Coast was a cult hero. I know that Sal's pals was a thing, but so was the Coast Guard. There was legitimate debate. Well, some people call it legitimate debate about whether or not Chris Coast or Carlos Ruiz should be the starting catcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's why I go Coast Guard. Jeff Jenkins getting a lot of answers. I love Jeff Jenkins. Big fan of Jeff Jenkins when they got him from the Milwaukee Brewers. I actually hated Charlie Manuel for platooning him and Jason Worth because I thought Jeff Jenkins could be an everyday starting right fielder. Shows how much I know about ball because Jason Worth ended up being the much better baseball player. But Jeff Jenkins was brought here to be a starter. So, like, is he a role player? If he was brought in to be a starter, he just wasn't consistent enough? Like, if anything, that actually goes against what they brought him in for. And that's why I didn't put Jeff Jenkins on this list. But I will say this. I am correct about Ronald Torreyes. Because my fellow seamhead, in terms of Guess the Philly, Ray Dunn has chimed in. Ray Dunn sent a tweet of his from September 23rd of 2021, naming my kid Ronald Torreyes. Ronald Torreyes Dunn has a nice ring to it. So whenever Ray, whenever there's a lucky lady that gets Ray, because we all know that Ray Dunn is the bachelor in this situation. Whenever Ray Dunn gets married and has a kid, Ronald Torreyes Dunn has a really nice ring to it. And he has Roto on his list as well.
Yeah, good luck trying to sell that one to future Mrs. Dunn. Now, I don't think it's fair that you can say the amount of games played because you have Derek Hill playing center, and he's played 32 games for this team.
Yeah, but he's actually done something. Sal Fasano did nothing.
You better be careful talking about Sal Fasano that way.
What do you care about Sal Fasano?
People like Sal Fasano. What do you think? They're going to come after you. Sal's pals are going to be at the gates.
Okay, sure. By the way, John Kruk, come on, man, clean out your ears. Can't forget about Greg Dobbs, my first baseman, bro. I put it right on the list. Greg Dobbs, first baseman. All right, let's do the complete recap of the Philadelphia Phillies. By the way, Fran chimes in, dude, Chunas does not know music. This is insane. I know the words.
How do you not know a single artist?
Because I don't. It's not my life. I listen
my life.
I listen to music when I drive.
It doesn't have to be your life to get one of the artists of when you were a sophomore in high school.
I got one. I got Rihanna.
Two of the artists.
I got one. Did I get one or two yesterday?
I don't know if you got one yesterday.
I think I got one yesterday. I think I surprised you with one of them. I knew T-Pain.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I knew T-Pain.
Yeah, that's a tough one to get.
So I got T-Pain and Rihanna. Those are the two that I know so far. I'll continue to surprise you with not knowing anything about music, but I do know the words to it. Man, can I sing it. All right. Yesterday, Philadelphia Phillies trade deadline acquisitions. They get the deal done for Luis Arraez, where they send Ramon Marquez to the San Francisco Giants, and there were tears shed over a guy that they never watched pitch once, which I always laugh at. But Luis Arraez comes in here, and obviously the big storyline right away is, okay, they got a guy that can bat at the top of the order and will not disappear. Like, he is going to hit the baseball. That is what he does. He is not a boom or bust player. It's not, is he hot this week or is he not hot this week? It's, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go 1 for 3, if not better, every single night. And I know that at the top of the order, he will be on base for whatever the order ends up being. Whether it's Trey Turner behind him or Kyle Schwarber or Bryce Harper, Luis Arraez will be on base for those guys. Or there's the chance that if Luis Arraez bats fourth, I know that will surprise a lot of people, even me as an old school baseball fan, old school baseball guy. If he bats fourth and Trey Turner and Bryce Harper are on base, you're not going to get the 5-4-3 double play every single time, which is what Alec Boehm does. Like, a Luis Arraez will be able to drive these guys in. It'll be really interesting to see what Don Mattingly, mainly what Dave Dombrowski thinks, what they end up doing with this lineup. But Arraez comes in, and he will be your starting second baseman, which will lead to a conversation later on down the road. Brooks Raley comes in from the New York Mets. The guy has been almost unhittable from the left side against left-handed hitting. What did this Phillies team desperately need in the bullpen? A left-handed pitcher that you can rely on. With all due respect to Tim Meza, I can't rely on him, and Jose Alvarado is not a guy that we have been able to rely on for quite some time now. He had a nice outing the other day in Baltimore, but he's not a guy that every single night you're going to say, all right, this is the guy that I feel really confident in. The other relief pitcher that they got, kind of from the same thing, but from the different side, right-handed pitcher Caleb Killian. As we just referenced Ray Dunn a few minutes ago, I love what Ray said yesterday about Killian. He's Hector Neris. Really good in any inning but the ninth inning. Good news is you have Joe Anderon. You don't have to worry about that. So you got better yesterday. Of the 3 players that you acquired, you got better yesterday. You got better with Luis Arraez for your lineup, and you got better with your 2 arms in the bullpen. And to me, as I've been saying for weeks, the number one thing I wanted them to address was the bullpen, because I know that regardless of how this lineup is hitting, if they put 1 run on the board, I still feel good about my chances. Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo, in whatever order that they pick, most likely Sanchez, Wheeler, Luzardo. games 1 through 3, regardless of opponent, I feel good through 6 innings. I did not feel good about innings 7 and 8. 9th inning was on lockdown, but innings 7 and 8 have been such an issue with this team this year. Orion Kirkering has not been reliable in big moments. Jonathan Bolin doesn't have the resume for me to feel totally comfortable with it just yet. Orion Kirkering has shown you that he can't pitch in big spots, in high-leverage situations. So they needed to add to the bullpen. And they did that yesterday with 2 guys that are good with their specific craft. And so it's going to be a matchups game come playoff time, as it already is. So bottom line is, did the Phillies get better yesterday? The answer is yes. Then the question goes, did they get better enough to say that they're World Series contenders? Let's check the poll of the day, brought to us by Dr. Avidan Appel and the team at Iron Mountain Men's Health. The poll has been strong all 4 hours. Spoiler alert, people are saying no. What do we got?
People are saying heavy no. Did the Phillies do enough at the trade deadline to make themselves World Series contenders? 88% of our over 550 responders are saying no.
I still view them as World Series contenders, but it's like a very, very slim percentage chance. And it's based off of what I've been saying.
So you vote yes on that poll?
Because I've always said that they're World Series contenders. I don't think they're going to win, but they're contenders.
I voted easy no.
With those 3 starting pitchers, they are in every ball game. And I will continue to rely on that. Like they were in every ball game last playoff. They were in every ball game against the Dodgers. Problem is, they didn't have a good enough bullpen last year because Jose Alvarado was juicing. And they also made fundamentally sound errors. Base running and in the field. Which leads us to the next point. The next reaction to yesterday. Luis Arraez was a great pickup for this lineup. Luis Arraez has actually been playing a pretty decent second base this year. Bryson Stott's better. But Luis Arraez wants to play second, so you got to move Stott. There is the easiest solution possible. Easiest. Slide to the left, or in this case, slide to the right. Slide to the right. 2 hops, 2 hops. Bryson Stott goes to shortstop. You either move Turner back to left field, or you move Turner over to right field, or third base. Alec Bohm still goes to first. Harper goes to the outfield. You could have still done the Harper to the outfield thing and moved Trey Turner to third base. What do you mean, Trey Turner? Trey Turner's a better outfielder. You don't know that. 4 years removed, you don't know that. What I do know is he thinks too much. And if you play at third base, you don't have time to think. You're moving Alec Bohm to first base anyway. Instead, they're going to move Stott to third. They're going to have Arraez at second. So you got worse at second. All right, even though I'm happy about the trade, let's look at it at its surface. You got worse at second because Arraez is not as good as Stott. You got worse at first because Bohm is not as good as Harper. You got, I guess, worse in right field. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see how it works with Bryce Harper. You got better at third, but you impacted another position by doing that. And shortstop remains a net negative. It is a net negative. Trey Turner is a net negative at shortstop. Period. There's no debating this. There's no, but he's been better as of late. No. He has been a net negative at shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies in 3 of 4 seasons. This was the opportunity that they had as an organization to say, now's the time that we can move him. And either they're lying to you thinking it's best for the team to keep him there, or Trey Turner will eventually lie to you saying, I would have done anything for the team. And who knows when we'll get that answer from Trey Turner. Other teams around baseball, yes, the Phillies got better. So did some other teams. The San Diego Padres, they added starting pitching. They get Robbie Ray yesterday. They're right behind you in the wild card race. The Braves did not do much to get better, but they have a sizable lead ahead of you in the division. So I think we're done looking at division. Like, they would have to go on like a torrid pace for us to start talking about it.
Brother, we've been done.
Yeah, right now I'm focused on just making the playoffs. Now, the Arizona Diamondbacks, I don't think did much to get better yesterday. So that's an issue for them. The Miami Marlins did not do much to get better yesterday. They're 2 games back you. I think the Phillies will make the playoffs. I've not wavered from that. And now I feel even better as of yesterday. But making the playoffs is not the goal. The goal is to try to get back to and win a World Series. And no, they didn't do enough for me to say absolute lock they get there. Do I still think that they're in every ballgame when those 3 guys pitch? I do.
Yeah, there's just no margin for error. As far as the playoff thing, because I was the first person on the show to bring up hey, this might be a real possibility. I was thinking like 70 to 75% chance they make the playoffs pre-trade deadline. I'm now up to like 80 to 85% chance.
All right, so you feel better after yes.
I do.
Right.
So Matt Gell put out an interesting article with The Athletic where his tweet up, I haven't read the article yet, but the tweet to the link of it was the Phillies acquired the best bat that was moved at the deadline.
Yes, that's true.
I think that's factual, which is kind of wild that we're having this reaction, and I understand why we are.
Well, here's why. You still have the same issues, just at a different part of the lineup. Arise bats in your top 4. You tell me how you want to do it. But Arise bats in your top 4. It's Turner, Harper, Schwarber, and Arise in whatever order you want. Whoever is batting 4th will not have protection. Just like whoever was batting 3rd didn't have protection, whoever bats 4th doesn't have protection because Alec Bohm still does not strike fear for a pitcher. A pitcher will pitch around whoever is batting ahead of Alec Bohm. Whether it's Kyle Schwarber or Bryce Harper or Luis Arise, they will pitch around whoever that person is. They will walk, they will get on first base, and they will roll the dice pitching against Alec Bohm.
Yeah, but now that spot's one further down.
Yes.
And the guy you acquired is completely atypical of everything this Phillies team has done. He is what Trey Turner was supposed to be as far as at the plate. And we saw it last year, but it's just when the guys slump because Schwarber's streaky, and Harper is more consistent, but we know that he's had cold stretches. And the rest of this lineup, if the top guys go cold, they seem to follow suit. Arise is Mr. Consistent for an offense that's biggest issue has been inconsistency. So I don't think the problem is exactly the same today.
Okay. Now let's play some of the clips from the members of the Philadelphia Phillies brass. Let's start with the pitching one because one of the big questions was, whoa. We've been hearing for weeks that you were going to try to get a starting pitcher, and they didn't. And it's because we missed something. We were not prepared for look, Andrew Painter's back. That's basically an addition at the deadline because he had one decent outing against the Orioles. This was Dave Dombrowski yesterday not addressing starting pitching.
I think it was important. And not only his last start, but his 2 starts before that. And part of that ends up being my conversation with our staff members too, and their comfort zone and how they feel if he's making the progress that they would like him to make to continue forward doing it. And they feel that he's got a lot better feel himself on when he's drifting out of his rotation, some of the adjustments he's made with his pitching. So it made quite a bit of difference. Now, compared to some other clubs, and I've said this all along, you always want to get better at every position. But we feel that if we can make it to the postseason, our starting rotation's in really solid shape. Other people are looking to add to their top 3. In our situation here, that really wasn't a necessity. So if we were going to do it and add somebody, they would have had to have been significantly better, in our opinion, than Andrew, than just acquiring just another round.
Did you try to acquire another starting pitcher?
Well, we talked a lot of clubs about starting pitchers, yes, just to see who was out there on a consistent basis and what the cost would be. So, yeah, we did.
Do you come out of the deadline concerned about your starting pitching depth?
Well, a little, but that's really the choice came into you end up getting a guy that's a 5th starter that you don't think is as good as your guy that you have now, an option, the guy that you think has a better chance to win to help your depth, or do what we're doing, and we figured we'd do what we were doing.
And look, that's why we had a texter earlier saying, does Dave really think they have better pitchers now than what they could have gotten? I think the answer is no, and he kind of told you just that, but he didn't want to give up a lot. And I can't blame him. As much as I can't stand Dave Dombrowski, like I can't blame him for that. And he basically said, should I have added an arm just to add an arm and send – because you would have to send somebody down, right?
Yeah, God forbid Painter goes down.
No, I know, but like Andrew Painter would be sent down, and so you would be bringing in a guy, right, that could eat innings. Whereas maybe he's rolling the dice of if we have the player that we have been talking about for years, show glimpses of it like he kind of did the other night, can this be the win that we were looking for? We fixed his head. He went down in the minor leagues, worked on his confidence, because that was the biggest thing. Like, work on your confidence, bro, and then work on your stuff. If it works out, then they won the gamble.
Right, but here's the problem. You acquire somebody, then the Painter thing becomes the backup plan. And then I guess Gage Wood, Alex McFarland, whatever in the world's going on with them, if we see them at any point this year, becomes the break in case of emergency button. Now you don't have that. If Painter doesn't work, you're screwed. And we're talking about they've got 2 more months of baseball to play.
Yeah.
Before we even get to the postseason.
Yeah, you got to get to the playoffs first.
So now you've left yourself without a safety net for the top 3 guys in the rotation, and you're pinning it on a guy that's already looked bad at the major league level this year and didn't look great in the minors when he got sent down.
No, except for his last 2 starts. We're going to keep a close eye. I mean, look, he pitches tomorrow. Phil's back in action tonight. Jesus Lazard on the mound against Zach Little, and then tomorrow it's Andrew Painter against Jake Irvin. And so tomorrow's going to be a really big start for Andrew Painter, for people like you, to calm your nerves, or it's going to get a lot worse.
I'll be in the building tomorrow, too, so I'm going to let him know.
All right, good.
Come on, Andy.
What do we have on the Davis on a text line? I want to get a couple texts in here because we got Bob Nightingale coming up next. What do we got?
All right, so we have a check-in here from Bruce, and he says, I'm happy with the moves. Phil's got better, but I don't see how defensively it works. Not worried about Stott outside of first base. He is the Phil's best infielder. There's too many moving parts. Bohm, the first, was an average first baseman. Harper to right field, he was always average at that position. Stott not in the middle of the field concerns me. And then Turner is an issue as well.
Stott's the least of my worries in terms of what position he plays. He's going to be really good wherever he plays in the infield. I believe that. So, I'm not concerned about Stott at third. I'm concerned about the other moves, though. You did get worse. You got worse at second. I'm okay with that one. You're staying bad at shortstop. You got worse at first. You can make the case you got worse at right field. That doesn't sound good.
But if the worst defensive team in baseball gets worse, how much of a difference does it make to their bottom line?
Especially in 2022 when they weren't known as the good defensive Phillies.
They started Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos in the outfield.
They just started a rake, and that's what it's going to come down to. All right, coming up next, Bob Nightingale of USA Today. Just reading his work, hearing him talk on the station and other platforms, I think he's very connected to Dave Dombrowski. Just a hunch. So I am fascinated to hear Bob Nightingale's opinion or reporting on why Trey Turner is still the shortstop of this team. We're going to talk about the other moves at the trade deadline. This is not just going to be a Trey Turner interview. But I'm really interested. What does Bob Nightingale say about the decision that the Phillies made, whether it was their decision or Trey Turner said, I ain't moving? What do we learn about the decision to keep Trey Turner at shortstop? We'll hopefully get an answer on that coming up next when Bob Nightingale joins us here on Mornings with Andrew Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
3 new faces at the deadline. I'm Connor Thomas. The Phillies made 3 moves at the deadline yesterday, acquiring Luis Arraez and reliever Caleb Killian from San Francisco, as well as lefty Brooks Raley from the Mets. The biggest surprise was what the Arraez move means for the infield. He's expected to play second base, so Don Mattingly talked yesterday about what the new infield and outfield alignment will be.
The key for me is Hart. Moving to the outfield is really the key to this. It kind of solidifies the outfield from what we can do. And the first thought is Bohm's going to play first, move Stott to third, and everything else stays the same.
We'll see how things look as the team starts instituting these changes over the next couple of days. Last night, they found a change on the scoreboard in a big spot. 7th inning, grand slam by Derek Hill to lift them over the Washington Nationals. Game 2 versus Washington is tonight at 6:40. Jesus Lazard faces Zach Littell. Arraez is expected to be available tonight. We'll keep you updated on all of that as those guys make their way to the Phillies. The Eagles are continuing training camp today. Their first preseason game is next Saturday, the 15th. And the Union will face Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup group play Thursday night. Bob Nightingale of USA Today joins us coming up next for his reaction to the Phillies' moves at the trade deadline. This update is brought to you by the Makem Group. They support contractors with one of the largest PVF inventories, from pipe, valve, and fittings to trusted brands. Count on the Makem Group to help you stay on schedule. Visit MakemGroup.com today. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic.
This hour is brought to you by The Baxter, dumpster in a bag. Get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Baxter.com.
I'm not going to waste your time.
Yeah, this one wasn't really in my bag either.
Who is this?
This is Christina Aguilera.
Oh,
She wasn't in the main rotation.
no, she was not. All right, it's 9:30 here all mornings with Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We're about to be joined by Bob Nightingale of USA Today, who just reading his work and listening to what he says and all kinds of other stuff, I believe he is very in tune with what's on the brain of Dave Dombrowski. I think there might be a lot of conversations that go on. So I'm really curious about some of the things that he will say about the makeup of this Phillies team now that they made some of the moves that they made yesterday. It's not going to be an interview all about whether or not Trey Turner should play shortstop. But there are a lot of things that happened yesterday. The Phillies, as you wake up today, are a better team than what they were yesterday. Before the 6 o'clock deadline, before the acquisition of Luis Arraez, the Phillies have become a better baseball team. Are they good enough to compete with the Dodgers? Is anybody good enough to compete with the Dodgers? Who knows? But from USA Today, joining us here on Mornings with Andrew, Bob Nightingale. Bob, good morning. Thanks for coming on today.
Sure, my pleasure, Andrew.
So, there was a couple of moves that the Phillies made yesterday, a flurry of them. Was there any surprise of the moves that they didn't make? I want to start there because we've been talking about right-handed bats for 3 years, and the Phillies have been putting out information about acquiring a starting pitcher for weeks now, and they didn't come away with either. But, of course, they made some nice moves. So were you surprised at the moves that they didn't make yesterday?
I mean, they tried, but, so did a lot of teams. There just wasn't much inventory. They were in on Robbie Ray and some different guys. I'm not sure if the Mets would have traded Clay Holmes their way, Glanzman. But they wanted some depth just to protect themselves from injury. So they did try. And, about an hour before the deadline, they knew it wasn't going to happen. But I thought the Rice trade was huge for them.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's one right-handed hitting outfielder, he's left-handed hitting infielder, but he smokes against right-handed. I mean, he smokes against left-handed pitching too. Hits 316 off him. I thought the perfect guy. We were talking to Bryce Harper, was in Philly about a couple of weeks ago. He could have said, "Hey, we need someone else here that's not like us. That just doesn't, that slugs, puts the ball in play, doesn't strike out." He epitomizes that.
I think my biggest concern, and this is me personally, is he's going to bat in the top 4 of the order. Somebody's still not going to have protection with Alec Boehm batting after them because he doesn't strike fear in pitching, and that's kind of been the problem for this Phillies team the last couple of years, regular season and postseason. But when you look at how this team is shaping up, how do you think they handle the lineup? Because they definitely cater to Trey Turner a little bit. Is he still the leadoff hitter? Is it Arraez? Could Arraez bat fourth like we've seen in San Diego? What are you expecting to see today when the lineup card is announced?
I would expect him in the top 3 spots. I mean, he's a table setter. That's what he does. But he also doesn't take walks. But he does put the ball in play. I don't think you want that from your cleanup hitter, but a top 3 hitter. I would think the perfect spot for him would be the number 2 hitter because he can put that ball anywhere. If you want to move a runner over, that's your guy. So I would put him as the number 2 hole hitter.
Now, with the addition of him, you obviously have to make things change in the infield because he is now your second baseman, and we know that position was being played by Bryson Stott, who is a potential Gold Glove second baseman. And it comes out yesterday that Stott will move to third, Boehm will move to first, and Bryce Harper will move to right field. Bob, I need to know, baseball-wise, we'll start there. Why is Trey Turner the one that stays at shortstop when he is probably the guy that should have been moved more than anybody else out of the guys that got shifted around?
Well, I just think they think that he's still their best shortstop. So, I think, by moving the pieces they did as okay, now you got a better third baseman. I think Boehm at first base will be, pretty equal to what Harper was at first base. And, the key is Harper willing to move to right field. So I think it'll play out. I think that's the best way to do that jigsaw puzzle. I just don't see anybody, replacing Turner at shortstop. Then where are you going to put Turner?
I would put Stott at shortstop, and then there's been talks for a while now about Trey Turner eventually transitioning to the outfield. So you would have kept your potential Gold Glove first baseman at first base. Bryson Stott gets shifted over to shortstop, and the guy who has 18 errors and in 3 of his 4 seasons with the Phillies is toward the top in the league in errors goes somewhere else. And I saw this Phillies team in 2022 go to the World Series with Kyle Schwarber in left field. So I don't see why that couldn't work unless, and this will be my follow-up, is it what Trey Turner wants? I mean, the guy's got a $300 million contract. We know that players have egos. We know that players have some say in the matter. Do you believe Trey Turner's at shortstop because he wants to be at shortstop?
Well, I think he wants to be at shortstop. I don't think that's a reason. I mean, they made the trade without him knowing anything. I think Bryce Harper knew what was going on with that trade because it was pretty much done the night before then released the next day. But I just think they figured that, Bohm can play first base okay. If you find, I just don't think you can, make that transition now with Turner in the outfield. If you want to do it in spring training, yeah, that's fine. But you can't do it right now. And Harper obviously has played right field. So I think it's a perfect combination.
See, I hear that all the time, Bob, and I understand why. Like, I do. But I also realize that this Phillies team, their margin of error is very slim, right? Like, people think they had no shot of beating the Dodgers last year in the playoffs. They did have a chance. They just did a couple of things poorly when it comes to baseball, fundamental baseball. And one of those was a bad throw from Trey Turner, who, again, has not been good at shortstop in his tenure with the Philadelphia Phillies. If he continues to struggle at shortstop, do they just deal with it the rest of this way and say it is what it is?
No, I mean, I think at some point he's got to play the outfield. You want to move him at second base, next year, you could do that too. But no, that time's going to come. He knows that too, that we're talking about, outfield with him, years ago, even back with the Washington National days. So that time is definitely coming. But you got to get a solid shortstop to replace him too, to move him to the outfield.
Bob Nightingale of USA Today joining us here on Mornings with Andrew. Tell us about the other 2 players that the Phillies acquired. They needed bullpen help, and they got that with Caleb Killian from the right side from San Francisco, Brooks Rowley from the New York Mets. Can you speak on both players?
Yeah, I think Killian helps him a lot, kind of a sinking ball guy, right-handed. He was kind of included late in the deal. Originally it was just 1-for-1. But then the Giants balked and the trade died, and then they got revived, later on to include the two other pitchers. So he's solid. And Rayleigh, top, very good left-hand pitcher, pitching back in the bullpen too. So a good addition. They need bullpen help badly. You got to get to Durant at some point. So these 2 guys will help bridge the gap. So both are solid guys. You're not going to. Either one of them is not a closer by any means, but they're fine setup guys.
Were you surprised in what the Seattle Mariners did? The reason why I bring that up is because when Randy Arozarena's name popped up, everybody in Philadelphia said, okay, that's the move that makes sense. There's your right-handed hitting outfielder that we could use here in Philadelphia. And it's after they traded away Luis Castillo, but then they acquired Taylor Ward, and you're going, what the hell are they doing? Are you surprised that Seattle did not part ways with Arozarena?
No, I never believed he was available. I mean, this team needs offense badly. I mean, they got great pitching staff. They got so many pitchers. They dealt Castillo. But I don't think Arozarena was going anywhere. I mean, if you look at that lineup, he's their most consistent bat. Trading him made no sense. So I don't think they're ever interested in Arozarena. I'm not sure where that all came from. But he wasn't going to Philadelphia. He wasn't going anywhere, unless they got some offensive back in return as well. But they need bats. They need his bat.
Now, last thing I gotta ask you: Did you hear from anyone? Did it cross teams' minds? What's the point of parting ways with prospects right now, considering the Dodgers or who the Dodgers are? And oh, by the way, they added Tarek Skubal. Did that go through the minds of any of the organizations? And I'm not even just saying the Phillies. I'm saying any team in the National League. Did it cross their mind, hey, we're not going to be too aggressive here because the Dodgers play in our same league?
It crossed some people's minds. I mean, you look around. I mean, here's Arizona Diamondbacks in the same division. All they did was get Lars Nootbaar. Atlanta did very little. So, but Chicago, they went for it, and of course Philadelphia went for it. I think realistically, the only team that can knock off the Dodgers is the Phillies, just because you have the three big boys at the top of that rotation. Other teams don't have that. Then the Cubs have some depth now, gives them a shot. In Milwaukee, I think once Milwaukee gets Skubal, it's like, okay, why go in for anybody else? So Milwaukee could have done more too. So I think in the back of a few teams' minds, they kind of put their foot off the gas pedal and say, what are we really going to be good enough to knock down the Dodgers? We're in the American League. All you got to do is get in. That thing is so wide open. You get in, you got a chance to be in the World Series.
Do you believe that was the final straw for whether or not the Philadelphia Phillies, Major League Baseball goes into a lockout next year?
Well, they were going to go a lockout anyway, but now they'll be the poster boys for it. Now they can get every fan and say, look at the Dodgers, look at that payroll, $430 million, particularly if they win the World Series again. So now it's the easy target. I think Major League Baseball kind of liked the fact that the Dodgers, of all the teams, were the ones that got Skubal. And, Milwaukee's kind of upset about it. It's like, really? You didn't want to wait, no negotiating, you handed them over? So teams are a little upset by that. And it's like, why did that happen so fast? It's not like the Dodgers, they didn't give up one of their top 5 prospects. So I think that bothered people.
Now, last thing, Bob, and thanks for coming on today. There was a report locally that Dave Dombrowski, whose contract is up after 2027, there's already talks about him getting an extension. It's not being received very well here because we've been talking about trying to get back to and winning a World Series for years now. And some of the same issues seem to pop up every single offseason, every single postseason as to why they're not taking that step forward. So I will ask you, do you believe that Dave Dombrowski is deserving of an extension, and do you believe that he will get said extension?
He'll definitely get an extension. I think if they want to give him a lifetime contract, they would. Remember now, in his last extension, I'm not even sure if it was reported, but his last extension, he was the one who took a year off it. They wanted to give him a longer deal. He goes, no, I'll go a little bit shorter one. So it would have been even longer. So, no, there's zero doubt in my mind that he's going to get an extension, and I think he deserves it. I mean, they're in the postseason every year. They're knocking the door. Some things don't happen, but you want a GM who's going to be aggressive, and you want a guy who's not afraid to trade away prospects, and that's Dave Dombrowski. I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. So he will definitely get an extension. He'll be there as long as he wants, to tell you the truth.
You're not making people happy with that answer, Bob, because people are exhausted. And, again, it's because the same issues seem to pop up every postseason. Bob, I appreciate the time. Thank you for coming on this morning, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sure, my pleasure. Take care, Nando.
There is Bob Nightingale from USA Today. Yeah, I would hate that. Lifetime contract for a guy that wins 90 games because the wallet of John Middleton helps. We got a good club. Is worthy of an extension, lifetime contract. That's horrible. And that's just Bob talking. That means he's hearing it from someone. Could be from Dave Dombrowski. But there's a chance that John Middleton looks at Dave Dombrowski like some baseball savant. Man, oh man, would that be problematic. All right, coming up next. Here's what we're going to do. Connor, we're going to try to figure out the lineup is today. During the break, I want you to write down your starting 9 tonight, and I'll write down my starting 9 tonight. They're playing against a right-handed pitcher in Zach Little. I want you to also put together your versus left-handed starting pitching lineup because I know you and I will have different answers on that one, Mr. Marsh over there. It is Mornings with Andrew here on 97.5 The Fanatic. 5 seconds. Crazy to think that this was 2009. That's what I call 30 has been our bump bap music today.
We were both young when I first saw you.
I mean, if you don't get this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's freaking bigger than the world right now, which is just unbelievable. By the way, I'm not the biggest, New Heights Scott. I don't listen to podcasts, but when they were talking about their wedding, it was kind of cool. Jason Kelsey's talking about how, their 5th grade teacher was there, but then so was enter any famous person ever.
Yeah, Paul McCartney was there.
Imagine being the 5th grade teacher, right? You're the 5th grade teacher who made such an impact on the life of Travis Kelce. That's beautiful, right? You made such an impact on his life that you were invited to a wedding at Madison Square Garden with some of the most famous people in the world. That's insane.
Yeah, dude.
Crazy.
You never know. It's a small world.
Crazy. All right. I have my right-handed and left-handed pitching lineups, and when I write it down, I kind of hate it. And it's all because of Alec Boehm. It's his fault for everything. When in doubt, blame Boehm. So, I wrote down what I would do. It's not what the Phillies are going to do, but I wrote down what I would do. I still have Turner top of the order both.
Yes, I do as well.
Right-handed
my top 4
and
are the
lefty.
same.
Yes, Turner, Arise, Harper, Schwarber are
Exactly.
my 4. I don't know if they'll put Schwarber there. I don't know, dude.
Where else do you put him?
I don't know. But I've been confused by the way they've handled Kyle Schwarber his entire tenure, and he mashes home runs. So it doesn't matter. But I think the best thing would be for him to bat 4th because now Bryce Harper finally has the protection that we have all been asking for years. But what's the point when Kyle Schwarber doesn't get protection? He's just going to get pitched around now, too, because Alec Boehm bats after him.
But
in both of my lineups, I have Alec Boehm batting 5th.
He's the perfect guy to get pitched around because he is the most patient of the top. Well, Arise is going to be different now, but of those guys that have been here, he's the guy that's most likely to know the strike zone well and draw those walks. He is. He seems like the guy that's least likely to get himself out.
But getting walks is not what you're paying him for. Kyle Schwarber is here for one reason, multiple. He's the leader of the clubhouse, but he's here for one main reason, and it's to hit home runs. And if he's batting 4th with Alec Boehm behind him, again, when in doubt, blame Boehm. Alec Boehm is the reason why either Schwarber or Harper do not get strikes.
Right, but when Harper gets pitched around, he swings the balls out of the zone because he wants to be Bryce Harper. When Schwarber gets pitched around, he gets on base. So that's better. It's not ideal, but it's better.
All right, I have Boehm 5th in both lineups as much as I don't like it.
I do not.
Who do you have 5th in either of the 2 lineups?
I have Marsh 5th in the right-handed lineup.
All right, here's why I don't. And this is why it's gross. Arise, Harper, Schwarber, Marsh.
Yeah.
You're going 4 straight lefties?
Well, guess what? You got a pretty darn good right-handed hitter that you can bring in as a pinch hitter off the bench.
Brian De La Cruz?
Yes, sir.
So if you're
Also,
pinch hitting, all right,
Derek
hold on
Hill.
a second. All right, then hold on a second, because I'll call you out on this one. If you're saying you'll pinch hit for Brandon Marsh, then why are you starting him?
Well,
against left-handed pitching.
I'm just saying if you have a lefty that's tough on lefties.
All right,
I think in general, Marsh is the better player.
I'm going double dip platoon. So I got against right-handed pitching, Turner, Arise, Harper, Schwarber, Boehm, Marsh, JT, Stott, Crawford.
Okay, I have Turner, Arise, Harper, Schwarber, Marsh, Boehm, Stott, Realmuto, Crawford. So the same guys, just different order.
Against lefties, I have Turner, Arise, Harper, Schwarber, Boehm, De La Cruz, JT, Stott, Crawford, or Hill.
All right,
I
round out. So I have Boehm in the 5-hole. I have Stott in the 6-hole. He's actually been really good against lefties this year. So I'm comfortable with putting him high enough there.
I'm not batting Bryson Stott 6th. No, but go ahead.
He's been pretty good. Why not?
Your lineup. Go
okay.
ahead.
Then I have Marsh batting 7th against lefties, Realmuto 8th, and Hill 9th, alternating as much as I can, like the lefty-righty type stuff.
I would rather bat Stott 9th than 6th against left-handed pitching. And it's not anything against him. It's just I'd rather get those right-handed guys that are going to attack left-handed pitching to get more at-bats. And that's really
Stott's batting .313 against lefties this year.
Okay.
I think you're really underselling what he's done against left-handed pitching this year.
Sure. I wouldn't bat him 6th. I'd rather a guy like De La Cruz who can mash left-handed pitching bat higher up.
Is he going to bat over 300 against lefties?
No, but he's going to provide power, which this team desperately needs in the middle of the order because, again, when in doubt, blame Alec Boehm.
That feels like a you thing. I'm not ready
It comes back to does it not come back to him every time? We're talking about protection in the order for the third straight year. It's the same guy every single time. Because they're going to walk whoever's in front of him, and they're going to see if they can roll double play, because that's what he does.
It's not Bohm. It's Dombrowski for not getting a guy that can do
but
that.
he's the guy that's playing it. And
he's
so,
the guy you don't like. Can I get that?
Yeah, but they're not going to bat Brian De La Cruz fifth.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to do that. And so we're going to have a guy that's just going to hit rollover double plays three times a night. They're a better team today. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how tonight's lineup comes out against a right-handed pitcher. I can't wait to see it. And I'm more excited for when they face a lefty to see what they do with the lineup. I should never say that I'm excited to see them face a lefty because they just can't hit left-handed pitching. But I'll be curious to see what they do. We'll find out a lot in the next week about what they think about this team because they're not going to give guys chances. They're going to probably solidify what they think will be their playoff roster today, and they'll go on from there. That's why we're talking about Trey Turner starting at shortstop because they think that's what they want to do, even though I think it's stupid. All right. By the way, the Washington Nationals, I hate them. Trading away Foster Griffin, trading away, what's-his-face, Garcia the other day to the Yankees, who hit a go-ahead home run already for the New York Yankees. There's teams that it works for us. You're playing them right now. They just gave up. And so the Nationals are probably looking down like, what the hell just happened? So good timing for the Phillies to play the Nationals. They win again tonight. Jesus Luzardo on the bump against Zach Little. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Middays with Marks is coming your way next. Johnny Marks and Ray Dunn. They will continue to react to the trade deadline. That was exciting at the beginning and then quiet after that. I'll talk to you tomorrow here on The Fanatic.